So Sheriff Anton comes in and he sees that there's been a murder. You guys went, you were given permission from the Kingsguard to go in here. So he knows that you're in here and you're alright. He says, right, I need you all to leave, but don't leave town.
Well, we weren't leaving anyway, were we? Not until...
I don't think we can leave. Yeah.
We're staying for a little, but one of us is required in the King's Court before long.
It's in a few weeks, isn't it?
It is in... 1 second. Dumpty 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 dum. 37 days.
It's not so far to the King's Court now. You're only a couple of weeks' travel from there now. I just need you to stay in town for a couple of days, but aren't you? You're staying in town for a couple of days anyway, aren't you?
As long as Eleonora wants us to, yes.
You're traveling.
So as long as Elise wants us to.
Yes, you travel with Elise and Artan. I know who you are. It's fine. I know who you are. Like the sheriff knows who you are. That's why you're here. So, yeah. But please, when it does come time to leave town, make sure you don't before, you know, without my permission. There's stuff going on in town here, and you were here investigating. So just stay in town until we've completely investigated what's going on here. Of course, that's all I need. I'll talk to Mistress Elise and make sure she's aware of the situation. You can see we have a situation in the town here in general, but this just makes things worse. I want you, obviously, to... I need your discretion on this. You know, we've trusted your discretion on coming here to just check out the place, so we trust your discretion with what's going on here, and we trust that you'll let, you know, us deal with this from here on.
Shrinking up bows politely, but asks that if there's anything that he can do to help find the perpetrators, that they get in touch. There's few enough of our kind in the world, and one being taken from us like this is not good.
It's a shame indeed. Miss Wildwander was a good woman and a valued citizen of the town. Her business here is a big boom in our economy. She's a very important woman, and she'll be sadly missed.
Yeah, we were
mentions asks whether she habitually wore jewellery, because there was none on her body. And tracing what's become of it might be one way to find her killers.
She did. She was an affluent woman. You see the place here; it's a big place, and yeah. I mean, you've been upstairs. It's not. She has a humble living space, but you've seen some of the things in her house. Yeah, she was an affluent woman, and yeah, she was known for wearing jewellery. Absolutely. She's a gnome, and this guy looks at you at this point. Are you wearing any jewellery, Sninky Nook? Are you actually wearing any?
No. I have a ruby secreted about my person that I acquired earlier.
But it's secreted about your person?
Yes, but that's because rubies are how shall I put it? They're tied to our deity. They're almost sacred.
Darrow will have said that the group was made sure not to touch either of the bodies. Also, and this requires other people's prompting, did we actually go in? We may have noticed things were bedrooms, but I don't think we've entered and searched them, have we?
You were in her bedroom, that's where you found the body.
No, I mean the guest rooms downstairs.
No.
No, we didn't look at those.
No, we just went in and we opened the door, had a look in. We saw that they'd been ransacked
Yes, that's what
there were signs of ransack.
Yeah, so that's what Darrow was going to say, is it looked as if at least some of the guest rooms have had someone go through them. But we have not searched them.
Shall I change your maps to upstairs for a moment, just to remind us, me and you guys, what the upstairs looked like if it was just small? I'll put us all on that map. So it was just
we'll mention that we saw footprints, unbooted footprints in the blood on the carpet. but we haven't been able to identify them or track them.
That's right, you saw barefoot bloody footprints, didn't you? Barefoot footprints in the blood.
And we had noticed that the chest had been ransacked. It was empty.
Yep, she had a large ornate chest in a room that had been totally ransacked, eh?
Mm-hmm.
What time of night is it?
It was evening, as far as I remember.
You'd waited till night to do this. Don't expect a dungeon master to remember. You need to tell me.
No, well, we hadn't waited till night. We'd been to the temple, and come back and talked to the guards at the gate, and then come here.
Was it?
Oh, sorry, no, it's not night. My apologies. We came into town in the morning and went to the temple, and then we investigated here. So it's probably midday, I would imagine.
Was it Eleonora or Darrow that cast Cure Disease in the church?
Darrow used his Cure Disease. Eleonora has not yet done so. But if we're basically returning to somewhere quiet, Eleonora will want to use her Cure Disease before the end of the day so that it's not wasted.
Did we want to investigate these problems in the sewers? This is the question.
I know someone made it absolutely clear she did not want to.
Well, if you mention, are you mentioning the sewers in character in front of the mayor? Is that an in character or is that an out of character?
That was in character.
The mayor says it's the what do you got, the Rat Catchers Guild that's got the keys for the sewers, but he just won't go in. They won't go anymore. You need to talk to him to get the keys. I mean, I can get them off him if you want to go in. I'll get the keys from him, but
Don't even think about it, guys. Do not get me started on this.
There seems to be a disagreement in the party as to whether it's a good move.
why don't you go speak to the Rat Catchers at least?
Well, yeah, we can ask them why they're not going in. Ask them why they're not going in, but if they're not going in and it's their actual job, I don't feel like as pass-throughs it's our responsibility to do it.
The mayor says that the Rat Catchers, so it's a private business, right? How it works is he is a pest controller like any other business. People hire him to kill pests. So the sewer's job is a government contract. Do you know what I mean? And like, he's just not taking the contract anymore. He's like, nah, they're not paying me enough. So the mayor will tell you he's asking too much money to do it. The sewers, we can't afford it. He's holding the city to ransom. That's why
people have died or gone missing.
That's why. Well, one of his guys died down there, so he doesn't go down anymore. So we sent away for a professional from Rockholm, and he goes missing. Now he says that if he's to do the sewers, that contract, he wants XXX amount of gold to provision with new men and with new gear and blah 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 blah, and it's too much, and he's holding the town to ransom. I'd pay you guys half of what he's trying to charge me just to go out there, just to go down there and kill as many rats as you can. Just go spend the day down there, kill as many rats you can. I'll pay you 1,250 gold pieces. He's trying to ransom me for 2,500 to take on the contract again, to continue doing it as a continuous thing. I'll pay half of that to go down once, just because I know that he's holding the town to ransom and I can't afford it.
If people have gone missing, is it just rats?
I have to suspect
it makes sense.
There's only been rats. There's only rats here in the town, but I mean, I guess in the sewers the rats are bigger. If you go down there, the rats are bigger. But up here, he still has guys working up here. There's private contracts. There's if you look over in the rich side of town, you'll see his guys still working up there, still trapping and still hunting. It's just the poorer side of town. The people can't afford the service anymore.
Not going down to the sewer. Right. Trapping rats above.
Sorry, David, you have to repeat. Something went off on my Streamlabs. It was too loud.
Sorry. Schninkinuk asks, if they're trapping in the rich side of town, does that mean they're going down to the sewers, or are they just trapping above ground?
You see his men. They're trapping above ground. He still has guys working. You see them in the richer side of town, but it's private businesses. People are hiring them, and he's not taking the government contract. He's not taking our contract to go into the sewers and do that anymore. He's trying to charge me 2,500 gold per year to do it. It's ridiculous amounts of money. He's holding my town to ransom. I'd pay you guys, the 5 of you. I'd pay you half of that just to go down one time, kill all the rats down there. Just go into that sewer and clear the place out. Get the key from him.
Can we have a discussion and come back to you on that? He says, looking at Kiara.
Can we at least just have a day and a night after like this shit today before we even think about the next thing?
Yes, I'm sorry, you're not used to seeing murder, are you, Kiara?
Not really.
No. Would it be acceptable if we use the stables here to stay? We can keep guard on this place as well for you while we're here.
The mayor looks around at the place, looks around at you, and yeah, of course, it's fine.
Very grateful.
I mean...
And would the landlady have relatives in town?
You don't know her relatives. She was a single woman, not a spinster. She was an older woman, but she was alone and not married with no children, so no, we don't know anything about her family. Someone's going to have to find out. We're going to have to do all of that. But the mayor takes a look around. He says, we'll have soldiers posted up in here from the Kingsguard. I'll speak to the sheriff. We'll have a couple of Kingsguard posted in here. I don't see why you guys need to sleep in the stables. If you don't mind, if you stay down here in the guest rooms, so you're not like sleeping up next to 2 dead bodies upstairs, then why don't you just stay in the rooms down here? We don't mind. This is the mayor talking, remember?
Okay. Thank you very much. Explain that I have noticed some gnomish items amongst the stock that I would like to purchase from the her estate, but that can wait until they identify who's actually going to be looking after her estate.
You see, that's the mayor.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm not really concerned with things like that just now.
Understood.
It gives you a funny look, you're eyeing up with the dead gnomes items, but okay. So he's like, yeah, I mean, you stay here as long as you need to, I guess, guys. But yeah, remember, keep everything on the quiet. Don't talk about anything that's going on here. The soldiers that'll be posted up here are going to know you're here. You'll know they're here. Just keep it no further than between you and them, alright?
Understood.
It's some short time later, the mayor will leave as guys, after he has a conversation with guys from the Kingsguard that have arrived, possibly even the sheriff will arrive. He'll have a conversation, the mayor will go off, and the Kingsguard guys will stay.
Okay. I will take Kiara off to one side and inquire politely as to whether she has invisibility as a spell. Because...
I don't think so.
Oh, that's a shame.
Don't. Oh, I don't think she can do level 3 spells yet. It's a level 3 spell, isn't it?
Yeah.
No. Is it? Oh yes, it is.
Next level.
It's just that.
That's because it's been so long since then. It feels like I should have leveled already.
Level 67 is a big climb, like, for you.
Yeah, it's a slog, like.
Which spell were you talking about?
Invisibility.
That's
That's the second level.
No,
is it?
I don't have it.
Okay. No, it's just that Stinkinut was suggesting that he could go down and scout the sewers out if he was invisible, and if there was anything out of the ordinary or unusual, come back and report it, and we could then potentially have go and deal with it.
Guys, I feel like this sewer thing is more political and business than it is like a problem with the rat. I think it's quite obvious that the guy who's wanting loads of money to go do the rat catching, has bumped off the other contractor rat catcher guy so that he can keep trying to charge them more money. I think they actually just need people to kill the rat. But
That's possible, but I think for a rat catcher to kill off an expert from Rockholm, I would imagine anybody from Rockholm is going to be quite averse to getting bumped off by a non-rat.
I've got remember his name was Aldrinson. He was a famous dwarf vermin slayer. It's a skill in Dwarven society. It's like a revered skill where you can, like, you know, just
what
like.
I think is that it's similar to the sort of tactics Drow use. They're probably infecting rats with a disease down in the sewers and then letting it spread among the population.
Sorry, Peter.
I'm wondering. So the vermin slayers. How large a sort of creature would he have gone afterwards?
Sorry?
Is it just rats, or would he have gone after bigger things?
Vermin slayers. So like your town, the guy that the business in here, it's a pest control place, so they'll deal with things like rats and anything else that's a pest in normal society. Big insects, I guess. Insects and rats, like pests in real life. Not like a dwarven vermin slayer. It's someone who it's a more specialised thing where they go down, and it's an underdark thing where they hunt bigger things than that. But in general town, so this guy that has, it's a pest controllers, and he rents out to the, you know what I mean? He goes in, like just like you would in modern society, if you had a rat problem in your garden or a bee problem or whatever, you'd phone up the pest controller. That's what this guy is, the pest controller.
But it's the dwarven guy I'm asking about.
Yeah, so he, so this guy, now his name is Phil, the guy that has the pest control, Phil Simons, don't ask me why, that has the pest controller place in town. He, when he first stopped taking on the sewers contract, that's when the town brought in Aldrinson from Rockholm. So this guy that has the pest controller place, he stopped 6 weeks ago. He says one of his guys disappeared down there and he stopped taking it 6 weeks ago, and then 2 weeks ago this guy came into town and disappeared, this dwarf.
Yeah, I'm thinking that there are shape changers who can appear like rats and yet are more powerful than rats.
Yeah, but that's why I was trying to clarify what Ulrich the dwarf had a reputation for taking out.
So he's got a reputation as, rats and more, Peter, yeah. And like carrion crawlers and that sort, like big thing, that sorts of vermin as well.
Right, so carrion crawlers, he's a reasonable toughness then.
Yeah, if you look in, I think it's in the Dwarf's Handbook and possibly even the Gnomes and or Halflings, there's equivalents, like the Vermin Slayer as a kit. That's what Aldrinson was. So just like you guys, a character class with a kit, so like a hero, eh? Whereas the guys that work for this Vermin Slayer, these just guys with traps and, you know what I mean, crossbows.
So in that case, one thing is, Darrow will discourage lad this Ulrich. He wasn't just some nobody, some numpty like some human rat catchers are. He could handle himself. So I don't think it's a good idea for you to go on your own, lad.
That's Darrow to Sninkinick.
Well, Schninky looks willing to go down and have a poke around the sewers, but he felt that being invisible would be helpful. Then they wouldn't notice him.
Sninkinick loves walking about triggering traps on his own.
Yeah, they might notice your the movement of your feet in the water if there's water in there.
Yes, possibly. Nothing's perfect. I'm not sure about smell down in the sewers.
Yeah, they might not smell you if you're lucky.
They might smell me when I come out of the sewers.
Anyway, if you wanted a key for the sewers, you'd have to go speak to the vermin slayers, that the pest controller in town that has the keys to get down there.
You mean the ones that's refusing to cooperate with the town authorities?
Yeah. The mayor has copies.
And will therefore probably not give us the map to the sewers.
I guess the mayor would have keys as well somewhere in the office. He would have copies. So if you didn't want to go see him, I guess you could go see the mayor. I guess he just wouldn't have had them on him when he was speaking to you then, but somewhere in his office he's going to have a set of them as well, I suppose. I shouldn't have thought of that for you, but there you go.
There's just been a murder, like.
Yes.
They need to be investigating.
Do you have any leads?
No, but we've got.
I asked about her jewellery, but didn't get a good response.
Kiara
we can't try and trace her jewellery.
Kiara has got a lead. Kiara thinks. But you think that? No, you think he's murdered Auric. The guy in town's murdered Auric.
Yeah.
You don't think he murdered this?
Well, I don't know, because I don't know if she has any connection, because we've not had a poke about and looked at anything yet.
Because he was murdered down in the sewers, and you're not willing to go down to the sewers.
Yeah, because I don't care about him just now. I'm saying, I think he's been murdered, but we have the opportunity where, like, he's gave us like free reign of this downstairs just now. We can like have a look around, because if this little gnome lady is tied to any of these guys in any way at all, then that makes a bigger thing, because then somebody is being murdered. And we get to stay above ground for a little bit.
Well, we can certainly have a look round, yes. But whoever did this has long gone and taken stuff with them.
Yeah, why would she have anything to do with it?
So why would somebody just murder a little like lady, a little gnome lady?
Because she's rich.
But that was quite brutal upstairs. That wasn't just like, oh shit, I came to rob your stuff, and like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was quite, yeah.
Yes, agreed.
Yes, I think perhaps they are connected in some way. It's
Quite possibly connected.
I think we should rule out that they're not first, because it would be better to go in on. Yeah.
All we can do is look around and see if we can see any clues downstairs. We're not allowed upstairs because of the guards. So therefore, we can't search the bodies.
No, the mayor said to you, if you don't mind being around dead bodies, he says you guys can sleep downstairs to stay away from the dead bodies. He wasn't explicit in saying stay away from upstairs, I guess, if we're being clear. He didn't explicitly say that. He just said, you know, if you guys don't mind being in the same house as two dead bodies, just sleep downstairs, and if you don't mind that, you'll be alright. That's what he said.
Yeah, but we want the guards are the people officially investigating the murder.
Yeah.
And we want them to indicate how far we can poke our noses into things.
But we also have, so I would need to go out and speak to the little stable guy to talk about letting Charlemagne stay for the night anyway. Yeah, and we've got like prime time to talk to Elliot about like what went on day to day and what did he actually see, and like now that he knows that she's dead and he's got time to chill and speak to us.
Yep. You notice that Darrow's his lawful character came through straight away. It's like we need to know straight away from the guards what level we're allowed to poke around at. Always on point with role playing that lawful good, like. So it's up to you guys what you want to do and when. We reckon it's the afternoon, eh?
That's just what I think, though, guys. So it's up to you. Obviously, have a better idea of like other things that could be going on, like underground, actual like things, not contract kills and murderers.
I'm going to give you no poking and prodding. You got to work it out on your own.
Although I just seen something on the screen.
I assume we're going to have a bite of lunch before we go asking people questions or poking around.
So are you going to go somewhere else to eat, like another tavern, or
Well-
you just got to jump in the kitchen and the Macaron there?
No, we could go see what she's got. There was definitely drink.
Yeah.
The
Well,
drink, the larder, there was some issues with.
And
wasn't
there's the chaotic characters again. What was the issue with the larder again, Peter? I don't remember.
Weren't there vermin?
yeah, there's some
There's definitely
vermin there.
something to wine.
There's nothing unusual in that. Vermin in storehouses.
I don't even remember, honestly, because I've not watched the VOD. I've not had time the last 2 weeks because I started a new job.
There's
I
only a
don't remember
few
because it's been
ordinary
2 weeks.
rats. It was just ordinary rats, you know, the mice, that kind of thing.
That's probably me just
Yeah.
trying to tempt you into a fight last week, so we hadn't had one.
Well, perhaps we should go and investigate the storeroom. See if the rats there. Well, I can't see that we can find any connection between rats in a storehouse and.
I'm pretty sure you actually went down. I think we remember there had been like
Right, we did go down because Stinky Nook knows that there's mushroom wine down there.
that's no, it was behind the
No,
bar.
that was in the cellar.
That was
Oh, was it? Oh,
The storeroom is by the back door. And
well, I was on about the cellar, boys. I'm sorry, my bad. I was on about the cellar.
the
Not
storeroom was
bothered about
here.
the storeroom.
I had a look down in the cellar. There's no kind of passages out of the cellar underground. But she does have some bottles of mushroom wine laid down.
Yeah.
Were they in the cellar?
The bottles of mushroom wine were in the cellar.
Mhm.
The cigars are behind the bar.
I'm sure when we went in the storeroom, it was rats ran out, just like small normal rats had ran away
Yes,
out
it
or
was-
something,
Yeah, it was normal rats ran out of the storeroom.
and then
The-
been eating potatoes and whatever.
Yeah.
The usual rats in a slow room. I don't think it was anything exciting. I think. I'm sorry, I don't remember that.
There's any bread and cheese in the kitchen. Make sure it doesn't go to waste.
Yeah, but when people were talking about stuff
This
to
one's
eat,
for you,
I
Derry.
got the impression that things had been found in the storeroom.
I thought it was just some vermin.
I don't
that
remember.
I
were
think,
down there.
I think you're just being picky, Darrow.
I don't remember.
If it's not got poo on it and it's not half eaten, it should probably be good.
Oh no, right. I do remember it was just like the bags of rice had been gnawed open and whatever, and the bags of potatoes been gnawed open, and rats had been in, just like your normal. So yeah, I'm sure there'd be plenty of food that'd be edible.
It's a little bit surprising that she would allow vermin in her.
But remember, she's not been seen for a
well-kept
couple.
place.
She hadn't been seen
Well,
for a couple of weeks. Remember,
Oh, that's true.
That
Yeah.
was one of the signs that something was up.
I would say there was. I'd say any bread that would be lying around would be mouldy, and so would any fruit and vegetables and stuff. Or vegetables would be going mouldy, and fruit would be mouldy. But yeah, there would still be rice and potatoes and all that stuff would be still be edible. Sorry, I've caught up with your train of thought, Peter. There you go. There's your answer to your question, I think.
We could go back to the inn that Mistress Elise is staying in and have lunch there, and then contemplate our options.
Is
Well,
that not weird, guys? Because-
we're not resident there, so we'd have to pay for it separate.
He said something about going into town, but then this is it. I was wondering why we were being weird and leaving the house, then coming back to a house where somebody had been murdered. But it's because we can't stay somewhere in town, can we?
No, there was
There
still.
isn't space.
Yeah, there was no
Yeah,
space in
because
town.
we're-
That's right.
that's it. Sorry, guys. My bad. That's why I wanted to stay here.
Well, that's why I asked, could we stay in the stables? Because at least we'd have a roof over our heads rather than staying in the yard behind the police station. But they're letting us stay in the inn, which is even better.
Indeed.
Yes.
We've got two
Yeah,
dead
yeah.
bodies
I've
upstairs. So.
caught up with myself now.
Because this place has plumbing. So that probably means I can have a hot bath.
She's got plumbing up the stairs as well. Remember?
Yes, but I'm not sure we're allowed to use her bathroom if they're investigating clues in there.
If there's two dead bodies, remember there's two dead bodies.
Two dead
lying up the
bodies,
stairs.
yes. Yes, coming out of the ensuite and seeing and kind of seeing kind of
Forgetting he's there and tripping over it.
Yes.
In the middle of the night, you're going to the bathroom with your eyes half shut.
I think I'll be
asleep.
satisfied with the bathrooms downstairs.
Trip over something. I forgot about the dead body.
I can see there's some nice rooms with some nice. I'm pretty sure I see bathtubs and bathrooms attached to these rooms.
Yes,
at the
indeed.
bottom.
The inn,
Yes,
the inn is what you
Really
see.
pretty
Yeah,
nice.
there are nicer rooms like
Yeah, it's certainly better than sharing a room with
down the
Dara.
bottom there. That's like really nice. Yeah,
Oh, Kiara was eyeballing that room
it's right across from the stables as well.
There's one where there's a section where you've not yet unveiled.
Yeah, I don't think you went in there.
Well,
I will do
perhaps we
so
should have
now.
a quick look. Perhaps we should have a quick look before we go off for lunch.
There you go.
Oh, so
like a dining
it's a
room.
private dining room.
An untidy dining room, aye. With loads of scraps on tables, and you can see signs of like rat droppings on the table and stuff.
So the murderers may have used that or something. The fact she didn't clear it up.
Seems a bit odd that she would have, if she had had guests here and then. I mean, why were there no guests here? I wonder.
Remember,
Because
she had taken ill and closed the place.
Oh, of course, yes. It's
weeks
surprising then
ago.
that she hasn't cleaned it up. Yes.
It's all a mystery. Hopefully. Trying to just finally just get something you guys can't work out in 3 seconds flat, because you're also experienced. You work everything out in 2 seconds, so that I tried to make this one a bit trickier.
Yeah. So either the people who murdered her actually stayed here for a while, which seems a little unlikely, or I suppose perhaps they just raided the pantry before leaving.
Looks to be at least 6 plates where people have eaten from. 6 places where the chairs are pulled out and there's scraps and empty cups and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which doesn't fit with...
I mean, she might have had just some guests of her own, as it were, personal guests, but the stable boy
What
would know.
were they drinking?
Yeah,
What were
doesn't fit that stable boys thing though, does it?
Yeah, he said no one had been in and out.
Yeah. So what were they actually drinking?
So on the table you find wine glasses. You find glasses, and if you are you sniffing like what's in the dregs to like see what was in it, I guess then.
Yep.
Wine, beer, all sorts, just everything, the kind of things you would find behind the bar here. Remember, she's got like a big, well-stocked bar with all sorts of stuff. So a bit of everything really. There's still bottles sitting out half drank. There's ones that are like half knocked over and spilled. The place is a bit of a mess. Like, and it looks like there's been a lot of drank and spilled in here at one point.
Well, we know it wasn't a bunch of dwarves that killed her then.
Why is that?
Because there's wine there.
So racist. So racist. Every
It's a bunch of elves.
Every week.
Well, we'll have to point it out to the guards.
Yes.
Alright, so you're making a point of doing that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes, I guess we should.
It wasn't a bunch that was all dwarves or all elves, because they've got a mixture of drinks that they've drunk.
Alright. So, well, one of the guards is going to go like fetch a sack and start like cleaning up the place a little bit. So he's going to come in this room and say, right, thanks for showing us. We're going to, if you don't mind, we're going to tidy it up a little bit just for the smell and for the, the scraps and stuff. We're going to clean up a little bit in here. We're posted up here until further notice, so we're just going to kind of make ourselves busy. You don't mind? I know, I know you guys are not supposed to go upstairs, but you don't mind us buzzing around downstairs cleaning up and things, do you?
But what I was thinking, this is a place, a room which isn't viewable from outside.
Nope.
And
that's why it wasn't revealed, because we were looking through the windows. That's why we were revealing them one at a time. We were looking through windows.
It's not viewable from outside.
That's right.
And it looks like a group made themselves at home here.
It does.
So unless it's in her books that she had people staying and using there right up to the point she decided to close.
So you want to look in her books for a group of 6?
Yeah, or whatever, is this.
That's 200 IQ shit, Darrow. That's 200 IQ shit. What's your character's intelligence? Might not allow it, unless he's at least a 17. Nah, I'm kidding. That's a brilliant idea.
So if a book showed that she had this group staying just at the point where she closed, and it may have been she was taken ill and that's not cleared up, then there could be an innocent explanation. But if there's not such a group, then it's suspicious.
Now, collaboratively, guys, do we think there'd be any kind of proficiency required to read that kind of books, that kind of journal, like the check-in, check-out and taxes and all that, the books of a hotel?
No, I don't think so. I've got
there's no taxes, non-weapon proficiency or anything like that.
No. I think collectively we've got enough IQ that we'd be able to look at it.
We're used to reading arcane tomes and things, aren't we?
I think if you've got reading and writing in the right language, then it's going to be good. Okay. If you want to go ahead and try that, you can.
Yeah, unless she's writing in Gnomish or something. I don't know how well I know Gnomish.
Can you read and write, Stinky Nick?
I can certainly read whatever it's written in, or at least there's a 90% chance I'll be able to.
Oh, you've got the helm of comprehend language, yes. Haven't you?
Yes, I have. First use of it.
This group and its magic items, right. Okay, so you're going looking for those books? I guess you need to go back upstairs. Somebody would.
We will. I think we need to talk to the guards and explain what we're looking for and why. Because if we're moving stuff out of it, if we're having a search and we're moving stuff out of its position, we'd better let them know.
Would you tell them exactly what you're doing?
Yes. I will also point out that when we checked the back door, it looked like the outside of the lock had been scratched, as if somebody had picked the lock.
Right.
These tables in the main in the main common area.
Like here?
Are they untidy as well, or
no.
were they tidied up?
No. Forget the images if they are. They're all tidy. Like the place has been tidy.
Yeah.
Remember, all the beds in the rooms were made, but then some of the rooms had been like robbed and
ransacked.
Yeah, ransacked. It was like made beds, but then ransacked. It wasn't slept-in beds. It wasn't
so
unmade
it's strange.
Beds.
It's strange that there is one room that looks untidy, but the rest has been tidied up.
Yeah.
Can we check these 4 rooms again and see whether these have actually been used, because they're internal. Again, you can't see them from the outside.
Oh, these ones.
Yes.
Yeah, where there's no outside window.
Yes.
You want to check in there?
As well, yes. But first of all, we need to have a chat with the guards about the books.
Alright, okay. So, you want to do the chat with the guards first?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. So, there's no need to roleplay it. The guards will say, look, if you guys need to look in the books to try and help, if you're needing to work out who was here and who wasn't, that's exactly what we'll be doing, but yeah, you're welcome to have a wee look as well. In fact, the guard will hold it. He's like, I've got it here. You might get on a bit better than we do. Do you want to tell us? Was there a group of people like that fits that room downstairs? You showed us that were cleaned up. Like, and he holds it up and it is written in Gnomish.
Okay, well let's see whether or not this helm is working at the moment.
Do you not read Gnomish?
No,
because you just failed your check. We had a 90%. Oh, right. So let me just pop this up on screen.
Now I've got Gnomish Common, yes.
Well, you can read it, yeah.
And well, I've got Sverf. Well, it depends what it's written in. I've got Sverfneblin, which is obviously Deep Gnome.
Mm-hmm.
I've got Gnomish Common and Surface Common. It depends what she's written it in.
She's written it in Common Gnomish.
In that case, I can read it without having to use the
But have you got read-write proficiency in the language? Because I'm quite specific about languages. Read-write.
In that case, no. Oh, sorry. Yes, I have. I have read-write.
Have you got read-write Common or have you got read-write Gnomish? I'm very specific when we do the characters. I know I'm loose with a lot of things, but with this I'm very specific.
I have the non-weapon proficiency read-write and languages Sverfneblin, Gnomish, and Common and Surface Common.
Well, that read-write only counts for one language. You can only read-write in one language from that non-weapon proficiency. So if you haven't specified, I guess you're getting lucky and getting to do it now.
2 non-weapon proficiencies for each language.
So
1 to be able to speak it and 1 to be able to read-write it.
If you take a new language, yes. If you take a new one, yeah, absolutely. To read write is a separate proficiency.
Yeah, I can speak Gnomish, but I wouldn't have thought I could read and write it with any proficiency at all.
Well, if I've taken read write, then it would be read write Sverf Neblin.
Would it? You're too honest for your own good there.
Yes, I know. That's what it would
in that case, I'll give you a 50% chance to read it because it's such a similar language.
Okay. Well, let's check and see whether I can read it because the helm obviously wasn't working.
Make a note now on your character sheet that you read write. Put brackets Snurferblin.
42. Yes,
go.
I've changed it. I've put read write Sverf Neblin.
So yeah, just to be clear, because that's one rule I'm quite clear on. If you take a if you want to read write a language, that costs another non-weapon proficiency. Even if it's a language you already speak and understand. However, you've got it. If it was from your base languages or from a non-weapon proficiency, costs 1 to read and write. Costs another in any language. You got lucky. Your helm didn't work. You had a 90% chance, and you failed that.
Yep.
But then,
but it just so happens it's close enough that I can figure it out.
So it's written in Snurferblin, which is Deep Gnome, it's written in Common Gnomish, normal Gnomish, but you can read Snurferblin, and that it's like Spanish Portuguese. You know what I mean? It's similar enough, like that you can, if you can read one, you can understand half the words in another. So you can
Plus
see.
it would be like numbers and dates mostly, surely.
Yeah, and
So
probably your numbers will be the same or at least very similar in the two languages, because there'll be two versions of the same language.
Yep.
If you look at how many languages in our modern culture use Roman numerals, not Roman numerals, so they're the Latin numerals now, whatever it is. What is it we use now? No, what are the numbers? Are those Greek? What are they?
Arabic.
Arabic, yeah, we use the Arabic numbers. Look at the whole world uses those, eh? So
just be grateful you don't have to learn to do maths using Roman numerals.
It's quite likely that the numbers in Snurferblin and the numbers in normal Gnomish will be the same. So yeah. So that's you can read whether or not there were 6 people staying when she closed it down, and the answer would be no, there wasn't. So all that for just that short answer. There wasn't a group of 6 on the books when she shut it down.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. As far as we've checked that, we've checked the books. I will translate who the last people were staying, and so the guards can write it down in whatever they can read and write. Because I can't write whatever they speak.
No, because read write common would be another non-weapon proficiency.
Exactly. I can speak it. So I can translate it from the gnome and tell them what it is, and they then have to write it down.
Can read it down themselves. Right.
That's assuming they can read and write.
Yeah, assuming you tell them the truth.
Why would I lie?
I didn't say you would. Just saying that's assuming you tell them the truth. There's so many variables. There's Dungeons and Dragons. Anything can happen. It's dynamic, this game we play.
If I tell them that's what I'm telling them, that's what I tell them.
You tell them you're
if I'm going to lie to them, I will say I'm lying to them.
It's D&D. It's not a video game. We could do anything. We could tell them you're the Loch Ness Monster if you want.
Yep. What? 3 foot tall?
Shapeshifter.
Okay, so I'll take them the books back. Can we have a check on these 4 rooms and see whether or not those have been used? Because since they chose an inside room, they might have used these rooms.
Yeah. Okay, so you check in those rooms, and you notice the beds. Although made, they look more laid on than in, and they look like, so not ransacked these rooms, but maybe used, maybe like the beds have been laying on, and like the chairs like kicked back out from the desk, like somebody's maybe sat at the chair, and the chest's open, like it's been used.
Any signs of... let's see. Where's the nearest bathroom? Let's check this these 2 bathrooms and see if there's any signs of blood from them cleaning themselves up, because at least one of them had bloody footprints.
Okay, well, I don't even need you to roll anything, because yes, you'll find some blood in between that bathroom and those rooms, yes.
Right. In that case, I'll call the party over and we can try and figure out what the footprints are of.
Alright.
In other words, are they gnome-sized, hobbit type, human, dwarf, elf? What?
there'd been some mention of Hobbit type last time.
Yes.
I think Hobbit was only mentioned because Hobbits run around barefoot.
Well, yes.
I think Hobbits were mentioned because they're the same, because we were talking about they're about human-sized, but humans generally don't run about barefoot, so we were talking about how Hobbits would probably be, although Hobbits are smaller, their feet are generally big, so if you saw a barefoot footprint that looked human, it's more likely to be halfling if there was halflings in the... Do you know what I mean? It makes more sense because they're barefoot.
Of course, they could have taken their shoes off so that they could wash their feet and then put their shoes on, and there'd be no signs of blood. But that's stretching it a little bit, I feel.
Or you could take your feet off to be, your shoes off to be quieter. There are a number of variables, Trevor.
Yes.
Ah.
So it seems a little far-fetched, but it's not impossible.
True. Okay, so it looks like these rooms have been used, so let's have a look around and see if we can find any clues as to who might have been here. Cigarette butts, kind of empty beer bottles.
Right, okay, so that's one thing you will notice in these 4 rooms. Be empty glasses, empty bottles.
Okay.
You
Maybe
might...
been staying here for days rather than just for an hour or two.
Nah,
Look under the bed and see if there's things like dirty socks that might have got kicked under there by accident.
Nah, you don't find any clothes or anything. You just find maybe in 1 or 2 of these rooms you might find an empty bottle lying on the floor. Not like on the levels you found in that dining room where there was a lot of glasses and bottles. You may just find 1 or 2 lying about here. But there is some sort of sign of life, whereas there isn't in the other rooms that are visible from the outside. Is the point. You answered your own question, yes.
Okay. Check the drawers in the bedside table and see if they've stolen the Gideon Bible. Forget that last comment.
Edit it out after in post.
But they wouldn't have bothered with the food and sleeping on the beds and such like. You know,
If they were just in and out.
If they were just in and out, would they? Maybe they're staying a bit longer for some reason.
Well, I would say that that dining room had signs of like half a dozen people having one meal and a lot of drinks. These rooms don't look like they've had people staying in them in any amount of time, but maybe people have been in and out of these rooms and been, maybe rested in these ones a little bit. Sorry, Tammy, go ahead.
So they may have killed the landlady and then had a slap-up meal and got drunk and then slept it off in here and then left.
Exactly what I was just about to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds
I
plausible.
think that seems likely.
And split the loot here.
Well, I think we'd probably better mention that to the guards as well.
Because you mentioned that, I would say you probably would find a few copper, maybe even a few silver lying around on the table where they'd had where there was a meal and a drink and a load of drinks.
Anything unusual? Bits of fur or hair or that sort of thing?
What non-weapon proficiency is applicable to that? Has anybody got anything applicable to that?
Tracking, hunting?
Tracking, hunting. Anybody else? Any better offers than that?
No,
It's not 5th edition, we don't just have investigation, we don't have it as easy as that.
No.
So, what room are you talking about?
Well, as far as where they had the meal, there might be. If they were drunk, then they might have caught themselves or dropped something. Alternatively, can pull the sheets off the bed and check and see if there's anything in the bed which is unusual.
Or on the pillows, of course.
Or on the pillows, yes, hairs on the pillows, that sort of thing.
Tell me which one.
Is
Sorry, right, wait till Tammy's going to chip into that. I know what you're saying, Tammy.
yeah, I was going to say, is there anything like written or carved into like the dining table or like where they would have been, where it seems like they've been rowdiest? Is there any like, like people tag stuff sometimes?
Where are you looking? Like under the table?
Just like on the table, yeah, like on the sides. Like just, do you know what I mean? Like if they were like
room,
drinking.
Which room though? 'Cause the big room where they had the meal? Where somebody had the meal?
Yeah, the big dining room.
Sneaky Nook can look under the table.
I can just walk under the table.
Okay, so Sneaky Nook, you want to look under the table in that room?
Yep.
And you were looking for, what did you say specifically?
Like any kind of like symbols or tags or like people like write their name or their fucking nickname or like their gang sign or whatever.
Well, if they got drunk, then they may have dropped something or forgotten something. And because the room was a complete mess, none of them would probably have wanted to go back in there the following morning to clear it up, so they might have missed it.
Right, picture.
So,
you know, like an X. Right, picture an X with the two bits at the top connected. So you've got like diagonal line, and then go back across, and then diagonal line down. An X, but the top's joined. Yeah.
Yep.
Almost like a funny four, and then turns, 45 degrees or 90 degrees, whatever it is. You know what I mean? There is a big one of them carved under the table. Kiara. Sorry, Sneaky Nook, because you went looking.
Does it look fresh, or does it look freshly carved, not waxed over as though it's an old one?
100%. So it's an old, like, oak, nice, fancy table, and then there's this big light, like, where it's a lot lighter because there's no varnish, and it's been, like, carved out, and there is a big X with a line across the top, so a big, like one of those. Yes, there is a big. Kiara, how did you guess?
Just because I'm a fucking genius.
You spent too much time with these gentlemen.
I will tell Kiara, and she can get down and have a look. Does it look like it's been carved with a knife or with a claw? With a knife, it would be a nice sharp edge. With a claw, it would be much more rounded. And probably more scraggly.
Roll intelligence.
Oh dear.
Let's give it a roll. Like.
Okay. My intelligence is only 13.
Wait. Well, one second. Right, go. What's your intelligence? You want 13 or under?
13 or under? D20? 12.
Oh, right, okay.
Well, I think...
You can tell that it's been done with a natural something rather than a knife. Rather than a bladed weapon, yes. You're just able to tell. You weren't sure for a minute.
Yeah. I will point this out to the party, and they can crawl underneath and have a look. So whatever it is...
something with claws.
It's something with claws that's at least can reach up at least 3 foot to get to the underside of the table.
But he's intelligent enough to draw a symbol.
To draw a symbol.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like shape changer to me.
Yeah.
Well,
although I've heard shape changers lose their mental faculties while shape changed, so maybe I'm wrong.
Told you that.
Well, just the
They're
legend.
damn cunning.
I'm not greatly expert of these things. It's only legends I've heard as a boy.
You've obviously not dealt with shape changes yourself. So Stinky
No.
Nook, attempting to give the impression that he has when he hasn't. But he's heard tales of them being in cahoots with the drow. Everything comes back to the drow. But is it possible to tell, was it done from directly below? In other words, the claw has it's even on all sides, or is it something reached under the edge of the table from the side and pulled it towards them?
Yeah. So you're just like,
Oh
as if I just reached down under my desk and do it like that.
Yeah.
There would be an angle on it. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Too
my
fucking
God,
clever,
that's
you like.
That's unreal.
Roll intelligence.
Not again.
Just because David's super intelligent doesn't mean your character is. Your character's got stats.
I'll ask Kiara whether she can tell.
I've got high
I think...
intelligence. I've got high intelligence.
Nah, somebody's been underneath it and done it.
Right. I will tell the others and suggest we have a look around for any other versions of that, any other copies of that symbol.
Yeah, because if they were just sitting there and idly scratching under the table, that'd be one thing. But to do it deliberately.
Deliberately.
Yes.
Not sure why. Could be somebody marking a spot. Could be a. I mean, why would you mark a spot like that?
Well, so it could just be a gang symbol, just to say
Could be a
we
gang
were
symbol,
here.
Yeah. Done by the Capt X gang.
Capt X gang.
Could it be like a curse?
Wait an hour, I write that down.
I don't know. I'm not a magician. Now, of course, if we had the Great Wizard here, he could tell us.
But remember the Great Wizard? He was cool.
I'm not. I don't know. It sounds more like a gang symbol than
Let's put him up on
a
screen.
magical symbol. Magical symbols tend to be rather more complex, I think.
We're just popping him up on screen for the viewers. Cornaith. When Snaky Rook refers to the Great Wizard, that's who he's talking about. Cornaith left the party a couple of weeks ago. He's an ex-PC who was an NPC for a while, and now he just left. There he is though, we've been making our characters in Hero Forge. There's Cornaith.
Well, so there is.
But he's no longer with us. Back to
Yes.
Snaky Rook.
I mean, can you actually talk to Charlemagne, Kiara? I mean, I know some priests and druids and things can talk to creatures. Some of our priests talk to our beetles.
I don't have like a psychic thing with him yet, but he understands me when I'm speaking.
Because
I think we've got. I think how to simply describe it, David, would be that it understands it like a dog understands. You know how your dog can speak English, or it can understand English.
Yes.
Because when you speak to a dog, it understands.
Yes,
Mhm,
I
like
understand, but I was just asking Kiara whether she or any of the priests can talk to Charlemagne. I've not seen them do it, but I don't know whether they can or not. Just if we're going to.
You mean
because...
like the priest spell speak with animals? You mean
Yes.
can I don't actually do it? Right, yeah.
It's the difference between editions. That in first edition, clerics had speak with animals, but in second editions they don't because it's an animal domain spell.
Ah, that's right, yeah.
Which isn't on, and therefore it isn't on the clerical list. It's druids have it.
It's a druid spell unless you're a priest that has the animal domain and you have it.
Yeah. The reason being, there's something with claws that did that, which isn't going to smell anything like human, dwarf, elf, whatever. My sense of smell is not good enough to tell that what might have done that.
So you want to ask the bear who did this?
That was why I was asking, can anybody actually speak to the bear to see if it notices any strange smells? And the answer is no, because nobody has the animal.
Nobody has the spell, yeah.
Yeah.
Which speak with animals. Yeah, so just to be like clear, the bear has an understanding like a fairly smart dog does. Like when you say go there, come here, don't do that. What are you doing? Like you know how your dog understands your English to that level. The bear the bear the bear understands you to that level.
He understands similar commands. Kill.
He knows that one.
Or in Kiara's case, help!
Kill.
So we know that there's at least one thing here which has got or can produce claws. If we search the beds, are there any signs of unusual hairs or anything like that? Because Schninkinuk is starting to think rats, were rats. He knows were rats are often in cahoots with the drow.
Roll intelligence, you prick.
Oh,
So
you're so mean.
we should at least
I'm not
check
mean,
every
he's too
pillow in
good.
those rooms.
I'm going to be putting up a
Oh.
couple of spell descriptions because I'm interested in what they do and they may become relevant.
Okay, Pip. Right. So you did it, right? Okay. So you noticed that
I thought to look for strange things. Yes.
in one of the beds, Snake Nook, you'll
Yep.
find that there's hairs in it that are, I guess you would say, very coarse. Would be what would make them stand out.
That proves nothing.
I guess there'd be quite a lot. You know, I would say also that there's quite a lot. So, like, but that doesn't mean anything more than a really hairy person, or a dog
Yeah.
was in the bed, or. But yeah, there's quite a lot of hair, and it's quite very coarse hair. There you go. There's what you mean too good, and also forgetting the rules. I'll tell you.
Okay. Well, if nothing else, it might give us something to give Charlemagne something to smell.
So you're picking up some of this here, like in a wee DNA evidence bag.
Not with my hands, no.
No.
Might be better to let him smell the bed itself.
It's let him come in and sniff around the room and let him sniff in the dining room, and then if nothing else, he'll like know that smell. So if it comes back to him while he's like out in the stable, he'll know. Like if they were to come back.
Okay, but we'll have to go over to the sheriff's place to get Charlemagne,
fuck,
because
we left
that's
him.
where
I
he's
thought we
staying.
had him with us. This
Well,
is, guys.
we've-
This is why we shouldn't leave him.
Is it the stable at the Kingsguard?
Yep.
Yeah. Ugh.
But we can bring him here and he can stay in the stable here.
Now, Peter, thanks for putting that up. I'm actually going to put that on screen. Can make that bigger. You're not casting that, you just want to read them, so I'm going to read it out loud while it's there. Anti-Venom Barrier is a level 1 priest spell. With this spell, the caster creates an invisible force field that repels non-magical insects, rodents, spiders, snakes, worms, and similar vermin of less than 1 HD, including some inversions. Creatures already within the area are not forced to leave, but if they do leave, they can not return. That does look like a very handy spell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely. How long does it last? 8 hours? He said, hopefully.
5?
5 minutes.
5 hours?
Ah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
pretty good, like. A level 1 spell. What's this? No age. This spell enables the caster to instantly know the age of any single person, creature, or object on which he concentrates. The age is accurate to the nearest year. What is going through your mind, Peter/Darrow?
Why would that be helpful though? When you think somebody's being
useful if it was something which could be on the level of granularity to the nearest day, and I could have looked at the emblem.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, yeah. Person, creature, or object. So you were going to try and work out how old the scratch in the table was.
When they had been there. That's
Yeah.
clever.
It's to the nearest year. No time. No time is particularly useful when the caster has been unconscious. Alright, so it just lets you know what time it is.
Yeah,
But that might also be
there's
useful.
various things on my spell list which I'm not familiar with as mainly a first edition player.
Yeah, just go through them. I don't mind, like, we have time.
And if they're part, and as I say, they potentially could have relevance to.
That no age looked very handy until it said up to to a year.
But that is actually useful, Peter. If you have a vampire shape changed into a wolf amongst a pack of wolves,
If you cast
visually you can't tell what it is, you cast it, you cast that, and you can say, right, that wolf's 3 years old.
That wolf's 312 years old.
That's 337.
Yeah.
That was my thinking.
That's,
that was
yeah,
my thinking.
very
as to how
clever
you would use
application of
it.
that.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at that anti-venom barrier spell. That's a very handy spell as well.
That
Yeah.
does look very. I'm just
yeah.
going to go for a drink.
The possibilities of our being up against rats.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, a were rat would be much older than an ordinary rat, because an ordinary rat only lives for a few years, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but the were your bog standard giant rat would be kept out by that.
Yes.
A were-rat wouldn't notice it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wouldn't notice the barrier.
Yes.
Okay, so do you want to go and get Charlemagne, Kiara?
Hold on. Let me check this again, because I do have speak with animals on the character sheet. Whether it's here by mistake, let's look at the domain.
Yeah, the other thing that the anti-vermin thing would be useful against is if a druid casts that sort of insect plague thing.
Like insect swarms and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of level 1, like, druidy spells are things like insect swarms and swarms of this and swarms of that.
It's quite a high level one. It's the one where they really summon a nasty swarm of insects, but I think they are still ordinary insects, so presumably they'd be kept out.
So is anything 1 HD or less? Or did it say anything less than 1 HD? Less than 1 HD.
Less than 1 HD.
So it'd be 1 HD minus 1 it would work on, but 1 HD it wouldn't.
Okay, I've now looked at Speak with Animals again, and it's got 2 spheres.
Animal and divination, yeah.
So because I have access to divination, I think I have access to the spell.
There you go, I'm going to read that out. And so this spell empowers the priest to comprehend and communicate with any warm or cold-blooded, normal or giant animal that is not mindless. That is Charlemagne. It's absolutely not mindless. The priest is able to ask questions of and receive answers from the creature, although friendliness and cooperation are by no means assured. Alright, so now Darrow and Charlemagne's history is going to come up. Furthermore, terseness and evasiveness are likely and basically wearing blah 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 blah. So it depends on obviously your relationship with the animal, Darrow. Duration 10 rounds, so what's that? 100 minutes? No, 10 rounds, not 10 turns, 10 rounds. 10 rounds. 1 animal within 10 feet. There you go, that's a handy spell.
So we can bring him in.
You could ask Charlemagne questions.
Yeah. So we can see what he thinks the place smells of.
Yes, and I'm sure if Kiara is there, he'll be generally cooperative.
To comprehend and communicate with. So if you asked him, like, was this a person or was this a dog? He could not just go yes and no. He can say, like, person, dog. You can understand that, eh? That's what the level of comprehension. That's what I'm getting from that spell description. What do you think, guys? Do you agree?
Yep.
I'm making it
Or
bigger.
more to the
I've got it
point,
on screen as well.
Darrow, thinking if you can actually talk to animals like that, then we could ask the guards whether they've got a bloodhound.
Yeah.
Probably be better at tracking than.
Yeah.
Might have less
Charlemagne.
difficulty getting into the rooms as well.
Yes. So we can ask them.
I'll pop upstairs and pop over to where one of the guards is and explain that we found what looks like it's some evidence. Do they have access to any bloodhounds?
Well, so the guards upstairs. Or you just want to ask them if the King's Guard in general here in this town has.
Yes.
No, no, they say they don't have dogs. They've had dogs before, but they don't have the budget. They don't have it in their budget just now. They're getting less and less guys coming to work for them. They're getting less and less budget off the town. Nah, they don't have dogs. They're lucky they've still got horses, they would tell you.
So it sounds like we're bringing the bear in, and we'll ask the bear what it smells of.
Right, so casting time is 5, so it's like it's not a big ritual to cast it. So Darrow, you're casting this, or is this Eleanor going to do it?
Well,
I think the bear has more of a connection now with Darrow, does he not?
Well, I was just thinking about him and Darrow's history, because they weren't the best of pals at first, were they?
oh, I think Darrow's
His pal after he needed them in the mines.
Didn't Darrow feed the bear some goblin?
Yeah. I think you've had like an up and down relationship. I think at first, like, when you first met him, it was Darrow that was fighting with him before you like subdued him and he became your pal or something. And then I think one time he may have accidentally hit Darrow as well when he was like entranced by What's that big fucker?
Umber Hulk.
The Umber Hulk, yeah. I'm sure he did actually swipe at Darrow or somebody as well one other time. I
No,
remember
that was Cornet.
Yeah, it was Cornet.
Yes.
Darrow for the longest time refused to call him Charlemagne and just referred to him as the Bear. I remember he didn't always like him. So,
Yeah.
I remember
Well-
Darrow. So go ahead and try and speak to the Bear. And I know what the Bear feels about Darrow.
He's also healed him.
This is true.
Okay. So shall we bring the bear in and see what?
Right, 10 rounds. What is that in seconds?
10 minutes.
No, it's 10 minutes, yeah. So, will I put a timer? I can do a timer for 10 minutes.
Yeah. So we bring the bear in, and then I cast the spell once the bear's by the door.
Okay, so someone's going down to the Kingsguard station to pick up the Bear.
I'll go.
Yeah?
Do you want an escort, mistress?
No, but I could take a horse.
Do you have your horse with you just now?
Sweet. I'll just ride back, and then Charlemagne can run back with me.
Well, I'll quickly switch us to the world map or the town map, and you'll see that it's actually super close.
It's I think it's less than 10 minutes walk.
It's very,
actually.
very close, actually, yeah.
Oh, sweet. Then I would probably just walk back and get him.
Did I move
Shall I-
everybody?
Mhm.
Shall I walk along with you just in case we
Oh.
run into trouble?
I can pop, these are on the GM layer, I'll pop them onto the map layer, because you know where the rat catcher's office is now.
Yep.
So I've moved that up onto the token, the map
Probably
layer.
probably best if we don't go around on our own. So if two want to stay behind and two of us go off to get Charlemagne.
Yeah. You can jump me.
So you guys are here, and the Kingsguard is here. It's literally like one street away, one block away.
Hmm.
It's like you can probably shout over at each other, like it's that close.
Well, I still think we should. At least two of us should go. So I'll go along with
Come with me.
Kiara.
Okay. So you're just going to get the Bear, Charlemagne.
Yeah.
Alright.
So it should only take us a few minutes, shouldn't it? So
Yeah, there's no need to do anything on that map. We'll stay on this. You get Charlemagne and come back. There's no need to. There's nothing else.
I
Nothing
did
major
wonder
from
what
there.
was going on when you switched this map, so I was like, oh, here we go.
So, Elliot's away, isn't he? You went away.
Yep.
So, if you bear with a minute, I'm just pulling out tokens. Here it is, Big Shaz.
did he take his horse with him?
Sorry,
Or was he,
yeah.
he was keeping
No,
his
he
horse
keeps
there,
his
wasn't
horse
he?
here. Yeah, that's why he still comes here every day. So yeah,
yeah.
you guys went away. You come back with Charlemagne, right? So Charlemagne is here. You guys can all control him, right? Token wise.
Yeah. So we'll let Kiara lead him in, and then Darrow can do his spell and start talking to the bear. who
How's your
will
roll
be
20 tonight, Tammy?
quite
Can you move
surprised, I
everything around?
suspect.
Sorry, Trevor.
Yeah, I've got the bears. I've got his sheet open and his token.
Okay.
Do I actually need to move him to where it needs to be?
Yeah, no, well, it doesn't matter after it. Like, we'll pull him in.
No, I'm asking, like, well, wait, are we doing that? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, we'll do it. Because I've got my phone out ready with a stopwatch, so that when Darrow casts a spell, you have got 10 minutes to talk to him. Real time. If I'm saying that, if I'm like, and I have to think, then obviously I'll add time on. It's only fair.
I think start off with the room here. I would have thought that's the nearest.
Well, why not start off by talking to him, because we've not spoken to him before, and he's going to be rather surprised.
Right. Well, just whenever Peter says Darrow's casting a spell, I'll start a timer.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I hear you now.
Can we all
Yeah.
talk?
Okay,
Can we all
because
talk?
I've been saying we don't know which bedroom it was. You haven't
yeah.
said which bedroom it was.
Roll 1d4 clockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's what it was. It doesn't matter. Somebody wants to roll 1d4.
So sneaky.
I have.
So 1, 2, 3. So it was that one. Clockwise, it's that one. So that's
Okay.
when you found the hairy bed.
Okay, in
Very
that
good.
case, I suggest the bear is led there, and when you're at the door,
Well,
cast
no,
a spell.
Hold on. I think there was a point made when we said maybe we should speak to the bear first.
You've never actually spoken to him, Darrow.
Yeah, like
So it might be an idea to explain
Set him
how
down,
you are
set
speaking
him, set
to
him down in that. Like, so let's go mental. Yeah. I know. I got the point of that one.
is it just Darrow that can speak to him, or can he
The spell
can he?
the spell empowers the priest to comprehend and communicate with, so it will only be Darrow.
Okay, so, but I still think it's best if we're positioned by the room at the start of the casting.
Because you've got 10 minutes and you don't want to waste it.
Yes.
It's a level 2 spell. You could potentially do this a couple of times, though, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, but if we start by the room, and if the bear goes,
Well,
what's going on, or whatever, we can clarify, we can do that.
well,
I don't
Start in
mind.
the right position.
I don't mind doing that, but I don't feel like it's the time of moving the tokens round. It's going to take up the 10 minutes.
yeah. I think.
It won't take us very long, will it?
Well,
So just-
anyway, Darrow, it's you that's going to speak to him, so it's you that's going to say, like, before you cast a spell, you're going to be like, right, bear, come here. I guess, because it's you that's going to go cast the spell and speak to him. So are you leading him
Yeah.
round? You guys, I guess you guys are quite friendly now.
I suggest Kiara goes with Darrow because she's on generally very good terms with Charlemagne.
I think he likes all of you guys. You have fought together many times now. He's been healed by both the clerics in the party. He's fought back to back with all of you now. We have accidentally hit each other a couple of times, but you do that with each other as well. That's what ones are for.
Right.
That's what Umberhawks are for.
Okay, so now we're there. I can cast the spell.
So now you want to cast it. Right, hang on, I'll get this stopwatch back up. My phone's locked itself. Right.
So tell me when it starts.
I'm ready. So you casting your spell?
Yeah.
Okay. So Darrow casts Speak with Animals.
Hello, bear.
So the bear rocks back on its haunches and it sits back and it goes and it like not sits back but it like leans back and it looks at you, and in your head telepathically, because it just goes, "Whirr," but you hear it go, Darrow.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something which may smell funny that's been in this room.
Darrow, you speak. Bear. Darrow is bear now.
The great character lets me speak with bear.
Darrow. The room. Yeah, smells funny. Smells of rats, Darrow. Me no like
Smells of
rats. We kill rats, Darrow. Darrow, we friends and you talk to me. Darrow.
What's he saying, Darrow? What's he saying?
He
Bear's
can
got a big
smell
bear
rats.
smile on his face.
Can he hear us? What's he saying?
Rats.
As long as he doesn't give Darrow a bear hug.
All the rest of you
Never
hear.
mind the rat.
All the rest of you hear is.
I like that I can speak to him.
Amazing. Ask him if he knows that I love him. Never mind what's in the room.
Kiara and I sort of gestured towards her. Wants you to know she loves you.
Oh, we love lady. Kiara. And like,
I think I'm having to shove my fingers in my ears.
although
Quite loud.
Darrow hears it like slowly and carefully sounding out, like in common, Kiara. That's what Darrow hears. The rest of you just hear Chewbacca.
What can you smell in these other rooms apart from rat and apart from us?
You, people, dwarf, elf, rats, dogs, gnomes.
Dog. What did he say after dogs?
Gnomes. Well, the lady that owns the place, a gnome. Me smell all kinds of people in this big house. It smells like house smells, people.
Yeah.
And rats.
And rats.
Arrow, can you ask Charlemagne if he can follow the smell of the rat when it goes out of the room?
Yeah, can you smell the direction in which the rat went?
Rats all over here. Rats. So he starts to move around, right? And he move around the place, you say, rats sleep in here. Rats sleep here, Darrow. Darrow, come. Me show you. Darrow, my friend. Darrow, friend, talk to me, Darrow. You are magic, great Darrow magic. You speak, we speak. Darrow, we heroes. Darrow, we are heroes, eh? We heroes.
Yes.
Yeah, Darrow, I'm a hero. We heroes. Bear's totally excited, right?
The evil Dwarga.
So he will come round here. He'll say, "Rats eat here," and he'll go to the stairs. Rats go upstairs. Rats were upstairs in blood. Rats and blood upstairs. He's no been upstairs, he's no been, but I smell blood, I smell rats. Darrow, we hero do hero things now. We the bad rats upstairs, we kill Darrow. Darrow, we go, bad rats upstairs.
Oh, do you want to go upstairs with him?
He thinks there's like, he smells blood and rats upstairs. You may need to explain to him what's going on.
Maybe if we show him.
Peter's possibly dropped out.
Oh,
Yeah, it may have done.
Peter disconnected. Right, I'll stop the timer.
Not saying anything.
I'll stop the timer.
Oh yeah, pause the timer, pause the timer.
Yeah, I've paused the timer.
My apologies. So yes, I'm running up the stairs to say that our bear is coming upstairs. Darrow's coming with it because we're investigating things, and please don't attack him. You know, step back.
Did we
He's
not?
perfectly friendly. Back them away from the stairs.
I'm waiting to see whether the bear thinks the guards smell of rats.
Yeah, that's exactly what I knew you were thinking that, Peter, right?
Yeah.
So you go up the stairs.
And therefore, I do not. The last thing I want is for the guards to think.
Understood.
To know what you're
last
looking
thing I
for.
want is for them to kill Charlemagne.
To know that you've got suspicions of were rats in case they're were rats. That's
Yes.
why you're not saying anything. Yep. Okay, so you're going up the stairs. I'm not restarting your timer. I'm unpausing your timer. So Stinky Nook goes up first, and he says to the guards. He doesn't mention that you've got suspicions about were rats.
I don't, because I don't know what he's coming up for. But I do know. I say our bear's coming up. He's coming up with Darrow. Can you kind of step back? Don't attack him. He's friendly.
Yep.
But
don't worry, boys. There's a bear coming, but it's okay. It's our bear.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So
No upstairs.
you go upstairs, and the bear's looking around, sniffing. Yeah, rat's been here. And he looks over a dead body. Oh, Darrow, we too late. We no hero. Looks at the dead body. He says, "We no hero today." Sorry.
So, but what is good is that the bear does not think that the
guards are we're rats.
It's the rat's been here.
And he doesn't go guard smell of rats, which is good. Right.
Yeah, you guys were talking to the guards about sniffer dogs, and you mentioned the bear. So you already said you were bringing the bear, so they knew the bear was coming at some point.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we
Good point,
back
Tommy.
downstairs to the bar,
Right.
and I want to know, and it may be hard to get bears to count, is see what sort of number I can get out of rats he thinks there were. I suspect all 6 were, but we can see.
I would say, right, I'll pause it for a second while I explain how he was going to say. He doesn't understand numbers, but he would understand like families and groups. Like he knows what the size of a family of bears is. It's probably a mum and a dad and 1 cub or 2. So he'd say big family, but no big family, no, because rats. He would understand. He knows what rats are, and there's hundreds and there's loads of rats. And he would say small family rats, no big family rats, small family rats. Big family, if it was bears, small family rats.
We'll go to the kitchen and see if there's rats there still.
Because there's... Right, so I'm unpausing this now. So, you go into the kitchen, right? Pause it again. Just trying to make sure you get your 10 minutes worth. You go into the kitchen and there's no rats scuttle away from you this time, scurry away from you. And that's because you guys are around the place and it's busy, so the rats are, they're not coming in and getting settled and then getting scared off again, because you guys are around and about, so they haven't settled in the kitchen this time, so there is no rats here. Right, go.
Right.
But there would have been rats in the storage room though, so he could sniff for that, couldn't he?
No, but what if there's rats here now, and asking the bear if there's rats here, if there's been rats here is different though.
Can he smell which way? If we open the back door, can he smell which way the rats went?
Sorry, I'll change maps again, back to downstairs. The back door was here, eh? Kitchen door.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tammy, go ahead.
So I've lost it now.
So there's obviously not much time left on the spell.
No, I've got it paused because it's not real time. It takes us more than 10 minutes to do 10 minutes because we're like asking questions and stuff. So I've got it paused at the moment. You've got like 3 minutes left.
Yeah, so it was basically the last 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It's maybe he's sniffing around outside to try and work out where the rats came from or where they went to.
Alright, you say rats come in. You say rats, big rats come in upstairs through window. Small rats come in downstairs, big rats upstairs. That's why blood upstairs, Darrow. Rats bad. We know
go around outside and see whether there's a direction in which he smells the rat tracks going.
Okay, now I'm going to just quickly change maps so that I can remind myself. I'm not going to pull you onto another map, but I'm going to go on the city map because I've got some things on the GM layer, and I'm just going to remind myself what way they would have went. Yep. Okay. Right, I know exactly where they would have gone. So the bear will tell you that rats go. I'll shift ping. Rats go this way. Rats run away here. Rats go that way, and he points in that direction, like to the northeast. Timer's ticking.
So does he think the
2 minutes.
rats
Well,
came
hang
out
on.
the door?
We don't know this because Darrow hasn't told us yet.
Yeah, Darrow.
Oh, well.
2 minutes left.
Yes, but I'm just surmising by the fact that they've been sniffing around.
Darrow? He tells you they went off in that direction, to the northeast.
I think we've lost him again.
Sorry,
No.
I keep this push to talk.
Just
I
forget.
keep on forgetting.
Don't worry.
I was going to say, Kiara, have you got any bear treats?
What have you got in the way of treat for him, Tammy?
Nothing. Alright, do I have my stuff with us?
I mean, you have a backpack that you would generally. It depends. Like that's up to you. Like what you keep on your horses.
Usually, does he not? Do we just hunt his food or get meat from the butcher?
I know you've stopped at the butcher a couple of times and.
Yeah, I usually have like just random bits to make. It's usually to make sure if we're stuck somewhere.
Yeah, I'd say.
Food, but
I'm pausing this for a second. I'd say you've got bear treats, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you would normally give him like dried meat and whatever, or he would get his own. But then you might have some nice bit of stuff from your thing, and then give him
I
some.
see a jar of honey in the kitchen, says Schninky thinking to himself.
Yes, and Johnny's honey's something that preserves for a long time, so it wouldn't be ruined. So yeah, you can find some honey.
Okay, well, when we finish with this, I'm going to get some for him. But at this moment, if Darrow asks that, I will ask Darrow, can Charlemagne follow those tracks to where these rats came from?
Right, I've got 1 minute left on your clock, Darrow. Of your speak with animal spell, I'll unpause it now.
Yeah, we can sort of start heading in the direction. So I have a general direction, and then we can speak to the guards.
Right, okay, well, I'm actually going to switch you onto the town map just real quick because it's actually so close that, and you'll see when I pull something from the GM layer up to the token layer, or sorry, the map layer, that, what I've just marked there,
Bella's back.
it leads you to that point. Do you see that?
No.
Little green dot?
Oh, need to.
Oh, yeah.
That, what I've marked there, is he has led you to a sewer grate.
What a surprise.
Right, so we now have something we can go back to the guards about.
And your 10 minutes is up. And I was generous with it.
And I've been asking for him to get
You're going to go back to the place and get him some honey. So it was
I'm going back and I'm taking the jar of honey and I'm bringing it back to him and opening it up and putting some on a spoon for him and letting him lick it off.
So you can see from the map.
Pet him.
See from the map where I've put the green dot. It's very close to. Like
Yes.
it's just round the back of this end there. So I'll go back onto the end map just now. So
Or he could get his tongue into the jar.
So the bear gratefully takes the honey then. Charlemagne gets a jar of honey. Just hand him a jar.
Well, no, because glass can. If glass breaks, it could hurt him.
More likely to be clay than glass or something like that, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
right.
In which case you can have the jar.
So we go to. We can now tell the guards what we have discovered.
I think we ought to go and tell the sheriff, or get them to
Tell
bring the sheriff in.
sheriff, and also think about what we're going to negotiate with the mayor, because he's offered us money for rats, not for lycanthropes.
Yes, quite.
We could ask for 2,500 gold pieces.
Yeah.
No, that's just for rats again.
You guys have got loads of money. You don't need the money. You just spent a bunch though, eh?
It's professional pride.
What did you spend loads of money on? Remind me. Oh, it was a suit of chainmail, elven chainmail.
I got elven chainmail, yeah.
How much was it? 6.5 G's or something?
We got the money back for that though, didn't we?
Did
No. Yeah, I ended up having enough gems and stuff to pay for it.
You just killed the people that you bought it from, eh? Sound.
Yeah, but did we steal the money back off them or not?
Oh yeah.
I should hope so.
No, we didn't steal it back.
No,
We got booty off these bandits.
No, that's right. Yeah.
Some of the booty looked rather familiar, but it be off the bandits.
That's right. Yeah. You got. That's right. That was the bandits that had that super nice looking mace and the thousands of gold pieces. Yeah. That was the bandits. And the gems that was Kiara's 24 hours earlier. That was the bandits you took those off of.
Yes. Okay, so we go and speak to the mayor.
Okay. One of my favourite scenes recently has been when Kiara asked that dwarf, the dwarf guy, like, if this definitely came from a dead person. He's like, oh yeah, it definitely came from somebody that was dead. That was a beauty. So you go back to see the bear, did you say?
Right.
Is that what you
so-
said?
The sheriff we were going to
You're
talk
going
to
to see the
first.
sheriff.
Yeah, the sheriff
Right,
first.
okay.
Yes, I did spot the bear initially.
Sheriff Anton Fane. Let's get you
Right.
back on that map. If this wants to load today. Right, so I'll put you back on the Narazir map.
Yeah. So it's just walking around the edge of the inn from that corner and across to the King's Guard.
Yep, it's right there. Now,
Just down the street near where that grate is.
I want to point out also, because if you just go down directly down that street, you're going to see another sewer grate. You see it, and it's really small on the map, but it's there. Another green
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So just as you're heading to the King's Guard, you'll notice there's another one the same as the one that the bear took you to.
There's probably
Right.
lots of them, I would guess, if we know
Yes.
we're looking for them.
Mm-hmm.
And what we need is a map to the sewers.
Yeah, you'd think the mayor would have one.
You'll presumably see the bear react if the King's Guard smelt of rats.
Well, you can always cast Speak with Animals again and ask Charlemagne to let you know if anybody smells like one of those rats.
Yeah, you would have to, yeah, I guess, yeah. Saying that, Peter's got a point initially because he's very smart, so he might you know, you might see a look on the bear like, rats, you know what I mean? You never know.
Might
Dad-
go into pointer mode, kind of freeze with his kind of open jaws pointing at one of the guards.
Darrow and
Or
Charlemagne might have an even heightened sense of connection now, they might get, you know what I mean?
Right. So we head over to the King's Guard.
Yep.
Alright. So, you want to go see directly the sheriff?
Yeah.
Okay, so as has been happening in every town you went in recently, you're invited straight into the sheriff's office by the guys that work there, by the other King's Guard members. And if there's anybody there, like in any meeting with them, they'll get shown out, and you'll be shown in immediately and offered a seat. And so, is that what you're going to do? You want to go straight in and see him in his office? Because you would get ushered in and invited in by him.
Yeah.
Okay, so you greet you, say, welcome, good adventurers. How can I help you today, and how can you help me? Hopefully, even better. Any news for me,
Well,
or
You. And it was a rat that did it, specifically were rats.
you think we've got a were rat problem, Darrow?
Yes.
He looks around his place, right? Because he's got a window out of his office to like the rest of the place, and he sees not very many and that. He says, "Oh, Darrow, please, are you going to help us with this problem? Go and see the mayor. Like you know that you know what? Have you talked to the mayor already? You know what's going on with the fucking rat catcher in town? He's holding us to ransom. I know it. That it's that bastard's holding us to ransom. They won't do the sewers anymore. They won't work the sewers."
Well, would you work the sewers if you were not? They probably. How many silver weapons do you think the rat catchers have?
I mean, they've probably got a better smithy than we do at the King's Guard. Have you been down there? They've got a smithy, and they've got, like, go check out their stuff. They've got a shop as well. They sell traps. They sell all sorts of gear. And yeah, they've got their own smithies working there, and they're probably better. They're probably better kitted out down there than we are.
They aren't set up for lycanthropes, are they?
Ooh, giant silver
I
mousetrap.
doubt they've got silver. There ain't no silver in these parts anyway. You know that there ain't been no silver in the mines in these islands for generations now anyway. No, ain't no silver weapons around. Plenty of good iron weapons around. We've got plenty of good smithy. There's a great smithy in town. That's where we get our weapons. We don't. I mean, we make a few horseshoes and stuff. We have a couple of apprentice smiths here in the King's Guard, but those guys down there, they've got a proper shop, like.
There is. I am, of course, assuming it's common knowledge that lycanthropes need silver.
Common adventurer knowledge. You guys are adventurers. I don't know if your basic common man knows that. Like, I guess it's in the fairy tales. Lycanthropes are fairy tale stuff. Like,
Yeah.
not even just fairy tale stuff, but because they're real in this world. But yeah, they're common like stories, like dragons, and they're not like an uncommon thing. Yeah, people have heard stories of werewolves and heard that. Yeah, it's silver. So you'd say, nah, ain't no silver weapons around these days, boy. Maybe none in these parts for a long time. Maybe, you know, you guys are going to have more silver weapons between the 5 of you than we'll have in these parts in this whole town. I doubt even down there that, yeah, they've got a great smithy and stuff, but I doubt they're going to have things like that.
Yeah, but you're complaining about the rat catchers. If there's lycanthropes killing rat catchers,
we've had a rat problem in this town for hundreds of years.
It's perfectly reasonable for your rat catcher company not to want to go down the sewers anymore.
I wish there was something we could do about it here, Darrow. As you can see, we're stretched far too thin already. You've seen my boys. You've seen what I've got. The pest controller's got more men than I do, Darrow. He's got more men on the streets than I do in this town. Working just killing rats privately for businesses, keeping the posh end of the town clean, while this poor end of the town's disgusting. It's squalid and it's filthy.
Well, they're not.
Excuse me, sir. Are rat catchers trained warriors like your guards?
No, I mean they're specialists in killing and trapping rats and vermin. Yeah, but no. They're not trained warriors. But I mean, look at my guards. Are they trained warriors, Ninkinook? Look at them. You've met my boys. Remember, he's got a handful of men, and half of them anyway were like green boys, weren't they? He's like, those rat catchers, they've got more manpower than I do, and they ain't doing nothing about the sewers. They refuse to take it on. He wants too much money. That the mayor's being held to ransom, basically. That's why he brought in the dwarf from up in the mountains. That's why the dwarf came down into town. We never heard from him again.
Well, he wouldn't have been killed by ordinary rats, would he?
Well, that's what I thought as well, Darrow.
He was killed by the contract guy, that's why.
No, he was killed by were-rats.
I don't think he was killed by rats at all. They just said he disappeared. They didn't find his body.
But they don't go down there. They don't go into the sewers.
Well, they paid him off.
The guys at the pest controllers used to do it. They still do like the town, but the town's getting filthy because there's there's a lot more rats and disease coming up from the sewers because the guys aren't doing the sewers. He lost his guy 6 weeks ago. This rat catcher used to have patrols doing the sewers, and he lost one of his guys 6 weeks ago. His boys decided they weren't doing it anymore. He said to the mayor that to do that contract, he wanted a lot more money for provision and more men, etc., etc. And since then, so that was 6 weeks ago, and then 4 weeks ago, the dwarf from Rockholm arrived. The famous dwarf vermin slayer from Rockholm arrived. 2 weeks ago he arrived. 4 weeks later he arrived, and he's not been back he wasn't seen again.
Yeah, because there's were-rats down the sewers.
So Darryl thinks were-rats. Kiara thinks that the rat catcher guy, Phil, I think his name was, you think it's him that's murdered this new guy he's giving it to town because he doesn't want someone taking on that contract, because you think he's trying to blackball the...
I think it's extortion.
He's trying to hardball.
Mistress Kiara, I don't care about the rat catcher. The landlady was killed by things which Charlemagne said smelt of rats, and which went down that grate and into the sewers. So the murderers of the landlady are down in the sewers, and if Darrow's right, quite possibly they're were-rats.
But Kiara's got an interest.
Forget the rat catcher. That's just a minor problem.
You think
as far as I'm concerned, the person who murdered one of my race is down in the sewers.
And Kiara, you think that whoever's murdered this dwarf, you think it's the rat catcher because he doesn't want somebody taking on that contract, because you think he's hardballing and trying to get the mayor to pay all the money. Right? Is that what you're saying, huh?
That is what I'm saying, but Sninkanook knows me too well, and he knew how to flip that on its head so that I would want to go in them sewers
It's to go there.
instead of just thinking we were. Yes, he knew
Well,
how to get me.
Try and find this murderer and kill them, if not possible to bring them to justice. But unless you use a silver wire, you can't really hang a were rat.
Well, you can hang them, they just don't die, I suppose.
Nah,
Actually, you could just hang them up and they'd be kind of hanging there choking forever. That might be appropriate. No, not good to think that.
It's an even more grisly image, isn't it? That's an even more grisly image than hanging them. Like, that's like hanging them times 10. I once read a story about somebody torturing, I think it was a goblin, but they were like pulling his fingernails out and really torturing the fuck out of him and then casting heal on him or giving a healing potion and then doing it again. That's awful, eh? Just doing it over and over. Healing him and doing it again and healing him and doing it again.
Yep.
Anyway, were rats is just like an idea in Darrow's head at the moment.
Exactly. But we have confirmation from Charlemagne that whatever killed the landlady,
Was rats.
my fellow
He said
gnome,
it was rats.
Charlemagne thinks it was rats, and they, a group of them, went down that drain. Now, I'm not concerned about rats, but I want to find who killed my a member of my race.
All right.
People are murdering us all over. If they're not drow, they're whatever those creatures are, and I'm going to do something about it.
The other thing we have to ask the sheriff is if he recognises that symbol.
Nope.
The X with the closed edge.
You tell him about it, and he would, if you tell him about it, he say, "No, I don't know nothing about it." He say, "What does that mean to you? Like, is this something you've investigated and come up? Is this important information?" Like,
It got dug. It got scratched into the underside of a table.
so he'll read his notes because you've been talking to like somebody will have came in and the mayor, somebody from the mayor's office will have been in because the mayor was up at the house with you. Somebody from his office will have been to the Kingsguard and he'll have notes about the room that was trashed, that people had been eating in, etc. And he'll say, "All right, okay." So he'll sit down, he'll grab his own feather pen or whatever and he'll like add to these notes that you found this. And he'll thank you for the information. But no, I don't know anything about that symbol. And it's quite easy to draw. It is an X with a line across the top. So he'll draw that down and say like that and he'll show you it. And it's simple enough, so he has drawn it correctly.
Yeah.
He'll say, "No, I don't know about it, but I'll have no doubt we'll get the mayor. Will have the best scholar in the town. We'll be reading all the lore and trying to find out the best information we can about it, if it means anything to us." And this is it's a crime scene investigation that we're dealing with here.
No, it's not. It's a murder hunt.
Well, yeah, it's a murder investigation we're dealing with. But as you can see, there's a lot more to it than just somebody's been murdered.
Well, you figure out who's kind of where the stuff has been stolen and fenced and whatever. I'm going chasing after somebody who's been murdered, who's murdered a gnome.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, if any fenced items are being sold around town, hopefully my men will find out about it. But remember, you've seen my men; they're not just young and green. They don't know the game as well. They don't have the same contacts as a man that's been in the Kingsguard 20 years. Has in the streets and in the market, you know what I mean? So they may not
yes,
find
I know, and they are also having to keep all the citizens
keep the peace up here,
quiet
yeah.
as well. Yes.
When there's a half a lockdown, people can't go to the shops and stuff because of this disease all over the town. And
so, do you have a map of the sewers, please?
He'll show you a map of the town, and he'll draw 3 X's. He'll show you like a bunch of sewer entrances, right? And he'll say, "Oh, this is all wrecked. This is all old. None of this you can get into." And he's showing you different parts of the map. And then he'll show you there's one section, and it's full of rats. We know it is because they used to go down there. And I'm just going to grab from the GM overlay.
The shape of the sewers doesn't look like an X with a bar across it, does it?
No. So I'll pull that to token layer. He shows you another. He's like, that's the 3 you can get in. And he shows you on a map the one that's just outside here, the one that the bear showed you to, and he shows you another one. He's like, there's one up behind Bella's bar as well. And he says, this key will open any of the 3 of them. It's the only ones that are accessible. Everything's all broken under the city. We only have a small section of work. That's why we have such a filth problem. The sewers don't work properly. There's only a small section of it runs through. That's why we've had this.
Can we have a plan of the bit that you know about, please?
So he'll show you. Yeah, I guess he'll sketch out a rough map of an area. Object layer. Freehand. 1. You see the X?
Whereabouts is it? Oh yes, just there.
And then one up, one to the west of that, and one to the north of that. Yep.
One there,
Yep.
and one there. So that's the one that Charlemagne led us to, yes. That's the one near the King's Guard.
Yep.
And that's the one at Bella's bar.
Yep.
Yes? Okay. I thank him politely.
Alright, we'll go back to the other map then. Okay. So he says, you're going to do it. Thank you so much. You're a credit to this town. You're a credit to all good people.
Sorry,
I turn to the party and apologise to them, but I'm going to make an attempt to find her murderer and deal with him. Or
So,
them.
Peter, what did you say?
I looked to Kiara at her reaction.
Darrow apologises. Sorry, Sneaky Nook apologises. He doesn't expect you to come because you're not gnomes, but he's going to try and and find the murderer and deal with him.
I'm waiting for Kara's reaction.
That's what I said before. I was thinking it knew how to get me to change my mind.
No, Kiara, this is nothing to do with trying to. This is nothing to do with trying to manipulate you. This is what Sneaky Nook would do, because he lost his entire city to the drow. Every gnome that he knew has been killed, and this was the first gnome that he'd found on the surface, and she's been killed.
Notice it doesn't matter how many times Darrow says were-rat, Sneaky Nook's still saying drow. He's been saying drow for 40 weeks.
They're in cahoots with the drow. I mean, it's a known fact. They may be pawns, but... So
I wait till we're outside, but I would suggest to the party that if we're going to go looking down the sewers, we ought to at least try and get a bounty off the mayor as well. You know, if he's willing to pay us.
They had offered you money to do it.
Yeah, I think we should take the money as well.
He offered money to deal with the rats, not with lycanthropes.
Well, it was mainly to go in the cellars, into the sewers, though, wasn't it? I mean, if we've been in the sewers, we're bound to kill 1 or 2 rats.
His words were, I'll give you half the money this guy's wanting for his yearly contract just to go in there for one day and kill as many rats as you can. That's what he said.
Yeah, and
what we're going to do.
What will give us to deal with lycanthropes?
Well, Darrow, you might have to go and speak to him about lycanthropes then.
Well, we might, you know, we can vary the terms of the contract, or else, you know,
Well, I mean, if you're willing to go with him, then Sneaky Nook will, he'll give up his share. He's not concerned about money. I mean, if you can get paid for it, then fine. But he's just glad that you're going to go with him.
You're doing it anyway, yeah?
Yes.
Kiara is one of our better negotiators.
So you're asking Kiara if she's going to go speak to the mayor?
Yeah, but I don't care about getting money for killing the rats. The only reason I'm going is because they killed that gnome. Like, I don't care that the
Sneaky Nook's got her. He's hooked her in. She's in the cause.
Yep.
On, please. He's serious.
You know, I want to do it because it'll help the people of the town as well, not just not just.
Look at you, you're so good. You're so good characters, all of you. Some
Well,
of you
not.
awful, some of you chaotic, you're all good. It's inspiring, brings a tear to my eye.
Oh, phase of the moon.
What's the phase of the moon? It's the waning moon. It was just the full moon. It's just passed.
So
In fact, no. It's not the waning moon. It's just been the waning moon. So let's say it's like a couple of days after the full moon. Sorry, I need to get this just right. So it's a couple of days after the full moon.
Hold on, the murder. How long ago did we think the murder was?
I think it was a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it?
No,
From the age
I
of the
think
bodies?
I think we said, was it not days or was it weeks?
Nah, cause all our food was, all our fresh food was already
Yeah, it was
fucked.
weeks. Yeah, it was weeks.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And the blood had dried completely, and
Yeah, it was weeks.
And the phase of the moon still is.
So no. So let me get this right then. So so the phase of the moon is, it's like half a month away from that. Then, if that's the case, so it's more like it's more like a few weeks after that, and then coming back up to like in the week before the full moon. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, so it's
Peter.
about 3 weeks after
Got a
the full.
half moon, yeah.
Yes.
Gone past the
That's
dark
the
of the
one.
moon, and it's
Waxing.
waxing. Yes.
I want.
That's the one. Yes. You fuckers, you're too good. Yeah, that's your answer. So it was a full moon a wee while ago, like a few weeks ago. It's coming up one in like a week or whatever.
I want to help the people of this town, but I think we deserve to get paid.
Yeah.
But that's fine. But then you guys can negotiate it. Like, I think it's vulgar for me to go and negotiate terms of money with this guy when I actually just want to go because these things are killing people innocently. Like, I'm not bothered about the.
You're gonna go kill them and then just take money after?
Nah, it's not. If I feel like it, yeah. Like, I feel like the principle of why I'm going to kill them is better than. Like, I'm not comfortable going to negotiate terms with the mayor about it. So if you guys want cash with the mayor, you'll need to negotiate cash with the mayor.
There we go. We're divided two guys.
I didn't even want to go down there in the first place, so like I'm going down for moral reasons now. If you guys want to get money,
Sneaky Nook's virtual signal.
Sneaky
signaling is
Nook thanks Kiara for her intentions, and
I don't see it's an either or personally. I can see it's a win-win situation.
if Darrow and Andamakar want to get paid for it, then that's fine with Sneaky Nook. If they're coming with us, I think we should. Honestly, Kiara, I think at the very least you should get a complete new set of clothes, because going down into the sewers, clothes aren't going to be worth much after that.
You've got a couple of sets of clothes. So, Kiara, you spent some time and money getting some clothes.
I have nice fancy clothes, and I have I've got my warrior clothes and my adventure clothes too.
Your scruffs.
Yeah.
When are we planning to go under?
Whenever you want.
Yeah, I don't mind whether it's.
You're not many spells down, are you, Peter? Darrow, like one spell down and Eleanor's one down?
Darrow's 2 spells down, Eleanor's you. I don't think anyone needed healing or anything, so Darrow's used Cure Disease and Speak with Animals.
Right, 2 down. And Kiara, you've not used any spells, eh?
No, I've got all my slots for today, because we didn't combat last week, did we? Last session.
Yeah, but you being a mage and not a priest, you have to have decided what spells you've memorised.
Yeah, I think I had them in 5. Yeah, I usually have. Just let me double check.
You use the same set every time, like a couple of.
Yeah, pretty much.
You have one enlarged, 2 magic missiles. I think I know your set almost.
Yeah, But that's because so far it's worked out pretty decent for us. So.
Because I think we want to go there on the face of it. I mean, I can say, oh yes, you know, that I'm concerned that what's his face, the rat catcher, famous inhabitant of my own town, has gone missing.
RxOliver, famous vermin slayer.
So we can go on and I can discuss that. And we can ask what problems there are. Avoid mentioning were-rats as suspicions.
And see if the bear has any reaction.
And come up with and see if the bear has any reactions.
That's a solid plan.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah, I'm game.
David?
Yep.
And it gives us an in, doesn't it? The fact that you're asking after a hero from your own civilization.
So that's going to be your in, Darrow. Your conversation starter, your icebreaker. But the bear's going with you.
Yes.
And you've got and your reason for that is, right, I've got you, right, I'm fully on board with what you're doing here, what you're trying to do. So you're heading to the rat catcher. I don't have a separate map drawn for this, but you open up a shop, and in the back of the shop, so not windows, but like, you know, like wooden beams, and then like an open bit through that. From in the back of the shop, you can see a big open thing with lots of guys working, and there's smiths banging away on stuff, and there's guys making things with leather straps, and you see lots of traps getting made, big traps. You see strange contraptions like metal gloves with spikes on them that are used for like reaching into holes and stuff. You see big long sticks that have got the equivalent of a bear trap on the end of it, and it's like it's this, and bags of poison, stuff like that as well. But then there's a wee shop in the front with a guy working. The guy that's working there's I've got a description of him. I don't know if I wrote a description. I've got a picture of him in this though. So that was Phil Simons. So I'll put him on screen for the viewers anyway. So Phil's the boss of the rat catcher place, right? Bald-headed man, big fat guy. He's got a big long nose and like a wispy little beard, just like a little thing on his chin.
As long as he hasn't got wispy little moustache sticking out.
As long as his nose doesn't twitch, you know.
He's got a lot of hair sticking out his nostrils, if that means anything to you. Big bushy eyebrows, but he's bald on top. So he's hairy in some places. He's got big hairy nostrils. You know all the places we don't want to be really hairy, it's really hairy. Like massive eyebrows, big monobrow, and big hairy nostrils. And hairy ears as well, yeah. He's got lots of hair sticking out his ears.
Sounds suspicious to me.
Everything sounds suspicious to you guys.
So we wander along, including the bear.
Well, everybody else is in the back of the shop. So this is the first guy. This is the guy you get to speak to, and he owns the place. And he says, "Oh, adventurers, eh? What are you guys here for? I suppose the mayor's tried to pay you to go in the sewers, is he? Good luck with that."
Yeah, he's tried to. I heard that they got Auric in.
Yep, Aldrinson, famous dwarf vermin slayer, came in to do the job, and he can't even do it. Why do you think I won't send my guys in? I'm not taking that contract. I would need a lot more money. I suppose he's told you all about me. Yeah, I'm not doing it. I would need a hell of a lot of money. I need a lot of men. I need a lot of gear. There's no way.
Auric's famous. He's from my town, hometown.
So they tell me. Yeah, I mean, I'm in the vermin trade. Dwarf. I know you're a dwarf from Rockholm, but I'm in the vermin trade. I know who Auric was.
Yeah. Well, I know some of his family, so hearing he's gone missing's a concern.
It's an absolute concern, especially when he's going missing in the sewers of the town where they want me to be the rat catcher. It's absolutely concerning when they're bringing in professionals to clean the place out. No wonder my boys won't go down there.
Well, if that's the sort of gear you're using there, I Oryx better equipped than that, I'm sure. And if he got killed, there's something odd going on.
On this guy's desk, you see a very fancy light crossbow. And you probably see crossbow bolts getting made in the place as well. They'll be making their own crossbow bolts. You'll see that through in the back shop. But this guy's got like a really nice light crossbow on his desk.
Yeah. But the bear isn't reacting at all.
Well, no, I never said that. The bear, when you come in the room, the bear is sniffing suspiciously. Yeah, the bear is sniffing, looking around and looking at this man and looking at you, Darrow, and looking at Kiara. And no, I was getting to that because the bear is not acting normally. The bear is acting the opposite of normal.
I would not say anything to him, but I would just give him a little look to say, like, I know, like, it's okay, just try and get him to, like, calm down a little bit, and for him to notice that I had noticed.
Yeah, okay, you've got that level of understanding with him. Yeah, okay.
I'm going to ask this chap whether he knows what's happened to Auric. Whether he has any idea whether he just left town or whether he disappeared into the sewers.
I've no idea. I've got no idea what happened to the dwarf. I stopped sending my guys down there 6 weeks ago. The guy arrived here in town 2 weeks ago and then we didn't see him again. I know no more than you do. I don't do it anymore. We don't touch the sewers.
Did he get any maps off you?
No, they never consulted me. The mayor and me, Darrow, the mayor and me are not on the best of terms. So when he brought in an outside man to do my job, apparently no, he didn't consult me for maps. This dwarf didn't need maps. Apparently, they say the dwarfs are superior when it comes to vermin slaying. They're not. I'm the best around. He just doesn't have enough money for me to do the job. It's a big job. It's a dangerous job, and he can't pay me.
Actually, I want to roll back a bit now that I've thought on something you said.
Right.
The crossbow.
Yeah.
Either the gnome or the cleric was killed by a crossbow, weren't they?
The cleric was killed by crossbow, yeah.
Yep. I noticed that, but I wasn't saying anything.
But this wasn't a multi-shot crossbow.
No, this is a light crossbow, a common light crossbow. And what you've seen, it was smaller things like a hand crossbow would have had.
Right.
So the bolts you've seen in the cleric don't match the crossbow on this guy's desk. But you'll see crossbows about this place, because the crossbow would be the weapon of choice of the giant rat slayer. See somebody that kills giant rats for a living, they'd be using a crossbow. They would have hand crossbows and light crossbows would be a common weapon for these guys. Especially the dwarves and the gnomes and the halflings that do that as a profession, because they're the ones that get hired in towns where they have a population of these, and they're commonly doing it underground. Because they're smaller, they get in the tunnels and the burrows better. It's generally those races doing it. These guys specialise in it, and the crossbow is one of their main weapons, because it's got that long shot. It can get a lot of range without having the big weapon, the big longbow or whatever.
Yeah, you don't have to try and draw it in a tunnel where you can't draw a bow.
So although the bolts in the cleric in that murder scene were hand crossbow bolts, and this guy's got a light crossbow, both of those weapons would be common to vermin slayers.
Right. Okay. I'd say, well, what would you think if we went down to try and see what happens to my compatriots?
He looks at you, and there's 5 of you, and you're in fancy armour and have fancy weapons and stuff. He says, I'm pretty sure you guys are not going to have a problem down there. If he's got enough money to pay you, go ahead and do it. But he doesn't have enough money to pay me to get the men to do it. Feel free. I've got no qualms about you going down there. I'm sure you guys can handle yourselves. Look at you. Not a problem. If I had the money to hire men like you, and wearing armour and carrying weapons like you guys, and he looks around you all, I would be doing it. I would be sending those guys to do it. I'm sure you'll have no problem.
I don't blame you.
It's just rats, big giant rats. Lots of them. Rats and filth, rats and garbage, sewage.
I can kill rats easily with.
have clarification on how big the giant rats are, because we've met various sizes of rats.
And I'm prone to like making them up on the spot how big they are as well. Now, but you've met some huge rats though, eh?
Yeah.
He says, oh, like down there. I mean, you'll have seen big rats in town, like sewer rats. Imagine a big sewer rat. Imagine a really big one. You'll have seen them in town. He's talking about big sewer rats and giant rats. And giant rats are common in this fantasy world. It's a monstrous rat, but it's, you know what I mean? Like the smallest ones that you guys have fought. The giant rat. Yeah, he's talking about giant rats as well as rats.
Yeah, but we had this encounter in which there was the king rat, and I assume what he's talking about isn't the king rat, it's things smaller than that.
Yes, he's talking about the things that are 2 and 3 feet long.
Yes, yeah, your bog standard D&D giant rat, yeah.
The ones that I get 4 blows around against.
Yeah, because they're less than 1 hit dice.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah. I'll look to see if anyone else wants to say anything.
What do you want to say to this guy, Phil Simons, the vermin, the pest controller of the town?
I think it looks as if we're done here.
Cool. Where's next, guys?
Thank him for his help.
He'll give you a smirk and a sneer and say, "You're so welcome, of course, yeah. Thanks for visiting me."
Always nice to speak to a professional.
Once we're back outside, sneaking up, we'll ask Darrow, why was Charlemagne behaving so strangely?
Right. Once we're a certain distance away, I'll cast Speak with Animals.
Right, okay, let me get the stopwatch up again.
Do we need to do this? Like, I feel like we know that he knew they were smelling big rats.
I'd say yeah.
You
That's what
might just say
happened.
that, but they probably smell of rats anyway because they've been catching them. We want to know what
No,
sort of rats.
but yeah. He knows the difference between a regular rat and a big rat. That's what I'm saying. And he would have associated the big rat smell with what Uber had done.
Yeah, I need to be more clear about Charlemagne's reaction when he was seeing that guy. Charlemagne was like, why does this guy smell of rats? Why does this guy smell like he's a rat? Not why does he smell like he catches rats. Why does this guy smell like he is a rat? Why does this rat look like a human? That's what Charlemagne was saying. It's quite clear to you. You've worked it out, like.
Yes, but I don't know, which is why I'm asking Darrow to ask him.
Darrow knows.
Yeah, it's what I suspected, but I think we needed to clarify.
Well, are we going to go and speak to the? Well, are we going to speak to the sheriff? Are we going to go and speak to the mayor?
Yeah.
You're determined to get a payday for it, eh?
Oh yes. So there's no harm in being paid for doing good.
But if he...
I'm sounding far too lawful here.
If the bear thinks that he smells a rat, and it smells like a giant, like a were-rat.
Yeah.
He's probably stirring up all the trouble with these rats to try and earn money, isn't he?
Possibly. So let's capture him and take him to the sheriff.
But
I think we should speak to the sheriff first before we start trying to arrest citizens.
Yeah.
Definitely sounding too lawful.
Yeah, so I need to question the bear about why were you acting funny in there?
Right, okay. Do you want me to pull up the stopwatch, or you're not going to need that long? I'll have it ready just in case.
Yeah, unless you think he's going to be doing any... And we can find out how many smelt like the bear.
Okay, now let's do the stopwatch. Right? Let's do a cast and let's cast the spell again, right? I liked roleplaying the bear anyway.
Yeah.
Right, so you cast Speak with Animals again. I've started your stopwatch.
Yeah.
Bear's just like in his own head. Honey, berry honey. Bear talked to Darrow today. Bear is
why were you acting a bit different from normal in there?
Darrow, talk again. Oh, Darrow. Big fat man is rat, Darrow. He's a rat. He smell of a rat, he's a rat. Darrow, talk again.
Any other men in there smell of rat?
Many rats in there, Darrow. Oh,
Many
lots of rats.
Right.
They bad rats, Darrow. And this is, sorry, I'm trying to convey that as a question. They bad rats, Darrow? The rats, they bad?
We need to talk to someone else. If you come with me and let me know if anyone there smells of rat.
Right, where are you taking
So
up? Where's it good? The King's Guard?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Right, I don't need to like pause your timer or anything, it's just round the corner, isn't it? So you going back in?
Yeah.
No, he doesn't sniff out any people that smell like rats.
Yeah. Well,
No rat here, Darrow.
No. Well, we tell the sheriff.
Yes,
Me
sorry,
tell him, Darrow. Bear talk.
If could I ask Darrow to ask Charlemagne whether he recognised the particular scent, whether it was the same as in the inn, or whether it was just similar.
Had he smelt big rat before in other place?
Me no know one big rat from other big rat, Darrow. All big rats smell of rats, of shit and garbage.
Okay.
He's got an accent now. Don't know where they came from. Longer he talks. No, Darrow, Bear don't know. And remember, all you other guys are just hearing.
And all the pedestrians nearby are giving us a wide berth.
Yeah, I guess there's people in the street. Like, not many, remember, because we're in the lockdown. But there are people out, and yeah, people giving you some funny looks. Darrow's standing there going, and the bear is responding in the middle of the street.
So we go to the sheriff.
You're going to taking the bear into the sheriff's office now, Darrow, to sniff out and see if he's a rat.
Yeah.
Okay. So the sheriff says, "Hello again, Darrow. I see you brought your bear."
Yes, and you should be glad to know. Check that the bear's not acting.
The bear's not acting up, no.
The bear doesn't think you smell of we're rat, but he does think.
Bear turns to you and goes, and then in your head you hear, "No, he no rat, Darrow."
But he does think that Phil, did you say
Simons,
Phil Simons
the rat
smells of a were rat.
So the sheriff says, "You really, we've got were rats." Now, Darrow, you've cast a spell and you're talking to that bear, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And the bear says that Phil, the rat catcher, is a were rat.
That the rat catcher smells the same sort of way as the rat smell in the murder scene in the Raven.
So your bear accuses the rat catcher of the murder of
He
Luke
didn't
Mutton Wild Wonder.
recognise the specific smell.
But the closest thing we have to a lead on who the murderer of Luke Mutton was is the bear says it was the rat catcher.
The bear says that he's got the same ratty smell as the murderers.
At this point, the bear's going, "Rawr, rawr, rawr," just agreeing with you, with everything you're saying, because he can understand you when you're speaking now, for the next 4.5 minutes.
So he's got the same ratty smell as the murderers. So we could disappear. We could go down the sewers and see what we find there. But of course, we're talking about the rats escaped. The murderers went from the Raven down into the sewers as their escape route.
Yep. So the bear says.
Yeah. But we're talking something 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. It's the most you've got, though. It may be the bear's evidence, but it's all the evidence you've got so far.
But because I thought there was a chance that there's lycanthropes going around the sewers, that people who have previously been down the sewers might have encountered lycanthropes. Then I thought it was worth speaking there, and to say at least some of the Rat Catchers Guild, including their leader, smell in the same way as the murderers did.
It's a curious theory, Darrow. Perhaps there's a cult of were-rats working with the rats to keep the town filthy, to push up the price of how much it costs for rat exterminators in this town. Sounds like extortion. Sounds like you have motive.
Yeah.
You've got a suspect with motive.
Yeah.
We may need to have a word with that man. Darrow, this information, although you've got it from a bear, I can see you're a man of your God, with divine wisdom and divine inspiration. And I trust what you're telling me. That a bear told you this. Because he sees you talking to the bear, and the bear going, like nodding when you're talking. For the next 2 minutes, the bear still understands you.
So we have that whilst we could go down the sewers and see what happens there, but the rat catcher knows that we intend to go down the sewers. So is it worth our going down the sewers, or do you want to take another approach?
Well, I don't have the manpower. If it is what you say it is, if it's more serious than giant rats, if it's lycanthropes, were-rats, Darrow, you see what I've got here. You see the men I have on the street. That's it. That's all I've got. You saw the men in that shop that night. He's got more men than me. We're very, very undermanned here in the town. I can't send like a squad of... We're not trained... Yeah, they're soldiers, but they're not trained in sniffing out and tracking and getting down burrows and doing all that. No, we're not exterminators. We're not rat hunters.
Yeah. But I would say, if it's the...
If it is what you say it is, then that's still like the best evidence we have is coming from a bear.
Yeah.
It's still a bear's theory.
Is there any... I mean, if we could show that the rat catcher is actually a lycanthrope, is there any law against that? I mean, I don't know anything about your laws, but...
There's not specifically a law against lycanthropy, no. There'd be a law against being a werewolf and killing people in the middle of the night when it's the full moon and blah blah blah. Murder applies to everybody, but there's no law against actual contracting the disease lycanthropy, the curse lycanthropy, I guess.
So you can't arrest him merely for being a lycanthrope.
No. If he does something that's evil, or if he does something unlawful while he's a lycanthrope, yes, but no. And especially not on suspicion of being a lycanthrope.
Yeah, and there's no evidence that it was him or his men who killed the gnome lady, though we might suspect it.
Yeah, if your bear tells me it's an elf, I can't just go arresting elves.
That's true.
He looks at you. But I mean, your theory's more than anything we've got, and I don't have the manpower to do anything anyway. So
we would have shown him the suspicious hair type that was found in the bed.
Did you bring some out? Did you collect some, like?
Yeah.
Okay. And what's this hair you found in the bed? It looks like dog's hair.
Apparently, it's rat hair.
A big rat.
Yeah, of the same sort as appears to be in the Rat Catchers Guild.
Everything you're telling me makes sense, Darrow.
I just had a thought. You know, if all these men were getting drunk, maybe they got rat-arsed.
Oh. Just let you write the jokes from now on, Trevor.
Look.
I'll take a couple of weeks off writing the jokes. Trevor can take over now. That was good. Like, that's why there was loads of hair left over at the drinking site, because we were getting rat-arsed. Very good, Trevor. Very good.
Are we going to head down the sewers then?
Yeah, I think we're going to have to. It just feels like we're going to have to do this.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, yes, I'm going down. If you want to come, then you're more than welcome.
I think Chiara and Sneaky have already decided they're going, eh?
Yeah.
The thing is, have you persuaded Eleonora? Is she already on board, or? Because remember, that's your fifth vote.
I think she would be.
All right, you want a map for it? Which sewer thing are you going down? Which grate?
We start with the one by the Raven.
Yes.
Well, they said that there was an area of the sewers which was particularly infested with rats. Can they show us which one? Whereabouts it is?
Oh, all of it. It's all particularly bad. They didn't mean there was a particular area of it. The other bits, the bits where you can't get in, it's not like you can't get in because it's really bad with rats. You can't get in because this city's built on a broken city, remember, and they only have a small section of working sewers because everyone's all broken up underneath the city. But yeah, it's all really bad. They weren't saying that one part of it was worse than the other. In the city, there's parts of the city where the rats are worse because the guys, the vermin slayers, the exterminators, they are working in the top half of the city because these people can afford to hire their guys. But the bottom half of the city, it's just trash spilling out into the street, sewage spilling up, and rats all over the place, and it's disgusting. That's why there's all disease all over the place. So you're going in that one?
Well, I'd suggest we go down the one that Charlemagne tracked them to.
That's the one Charlemagne took it to. Alright, okay, so.
Yeah, makes
let me
sense
switch
to me.
maps in. Just a second.
We could see if there's any evidence, maybe footmarks on the walls or that kind of thing. Scratches on the grates.
Does Darrow wish to cast his spell first? Before we go
the
in?
rat repellent?
Yep.
The vermin repellent. Do we want to do it initially, or?
I'll just put some tokens.
If we're down there for longer than 5 hours, Darrow, I think we're going to be in serious trouble. So I'd cast it before we go down.
Okay.
Last 5 hours, yeah.
It's kind of, what, mid-afternoon now. We're not going to want to stay down there for more than 5 hours, I wouldn't have thought.
Okay, we cast it and we'll have a look around.
Do we see any marks of anyone going up or down through that grate as though it'd been used?
One moment, I'm just tidying up the overlay.
So there could be, I mean, if there's slime and things, it could have been dislodged.
So you'll see some sort of signs of the grate being opened recently. Like, so it's a big circular thing, but it's got a lock on it, and you got the lock from the mayor. You got the key from the mayor, but you notice that it's been opened before. You can see where so there's growth of moss or whatever, and then you can see where that's been torn, and then there's like, do you know what I mean? Where it's been closed for a long time, and then there's signs that it's been opened again recently.
Well, if the head of the Rat Catchers Guild is a wererat, and the head of the Rat Catchers Guild we know has a key, don't need to pick it.
And so we'll have a look at it. How big, how wide is the grate? Could a giant rat fit through it?
Yes.
Hopefully a bear can fit through it.
Probably just like if you open the thing fully up, like the cover, whatever it is, the door. If you open that fully up, then the bear will get through.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Imagine that's like a big circular thing with bars. So even between the bars, even with it closed, some big rats could get through.
It's been shifted recently, which meant that they were actually in human form, but it's locked at the moment.
It's locked at the moment.
Something else to tell the guards.
But you've got a key.
Yeah. But it's not...
It does implicate the rat catcher again, doesn't it?
Yes. Because if it's been shifted at the time of the murder and it's locked now, it suggests that the key was used. Okay, we head down.
Okay, I think I've got Ollie on the map. Have I moved you on? Oh yeah, you're all in it.
Yep.
So yeah, I'll open that up. So we're gonna do our reveal areas thing.
Okay.
No,
I don't think there's a lot of point in me looking for tracks down here, Peter. Darrow, rather.
Did you say traps or tracks?
Tracks.
Presumably there are signs of all sorts of animals, particularly rats, scurrying around.
When you all come down here actually into the sewers, the smell, like, difference between above ground is 10 times worse than below ground. It's really stinking. There's piles of, the water's only just barely moving, and there's piles of slime and filth, and it really stinks. And I want you all to roll against your constitution. Even though we're wearing masks because they made you wear them in the town, I want you all roll against Constitution when you enter here, actually. Not the bear, but somebody do Eleonora.
Oh dear, my Constitution's not that great. Although I think that's just
Neither's
about do.
mine.
I think I'm probably okay.
Nope, I failed.
Right, anyone else fail?
I think
Darrow.
mine's just. Let me just check mine, but I think I'm just about okay. Constitution.
Yeah, never failed.
Oh, I just made it.
Eleanor.
Eleonora made it. Tammy? Still with us, Tammy?
I am. I keep forgetting I'm on mute, guys.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I need to get a roll against Constitution. Roll Constitution or lower.
Hold on.
Against the stinking, nauseous shit that's here. Doubt your Constitution's 18.
Hold on, because some of them are good.
You've got good. I think you've got a high con, like 16 or something. I don't think it's an 18. I'm sure your charisma's your highest. Or dex, actually.
Got a 14.
No, okay, so
okay.
Snake and...
It's very suspicious. It's a whole revelation that clearly there's something about elves where they take to sewage with no problem.
Yeah.
I think it's. I know. I'm surprised that you have any problems. I mean, you underground people.
You
are
made
used
it.
to
You
this,
say
are
that.
you
You
not?
made your save as well. Right. So.
Elves saved and the non-elves failed.
Yeah. So, if at any point in the next hour you have to make an attack or a save, you make it at -1
Fair enough.
from the nausea.
Yes.
You've got like a tightening up in your stomach. You're constantly on the verge of throwing up. You've got that dry heave in the back of your throat all the time. The two of you that failed your saves.
3 of us failed, didn't we?
Oh, did you fail as well, Peter? Sorry, Darrow failed as well. Oh, you rolled a 19. Yeah. Sorry, yeah. The 3 of you.
Rolled to the 2. So and say,
Yeah, the
it's
3
the
of the elves. Yeah. Right. So yeah, if you've got any saves or attacks in the next hour, it's made at -1 from the nausea.